Our next broadcast was the brainchild of Jack Webb and may very well be the most well-remembered and best radio police drama series of all time. It ran from September in 1949 through February 1957 in 30-minute shows broadcast on NBC, and it brought to radio true police stories in a low-key documentary style. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, this program is for you, not your children. The subject is of vital importance to you as parents. This is the story of a vicious man.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. 2 small girls are reported missing. Somewhere between their homes and a neighborhood grocery store, they dropped from sight. Your job, find them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 27th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief detective. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from Central Division. It was 16 minutes past 8 p.m. when we got to South Peoria Street, number 267.
Sure gloomy out.
Yeah, it's sultry.
Looks like we're in for some rain.
Yes, sir?
Police officers. Is Lieutenant Barker here?
Yes, you want to come in?
Thank you.
This is Sergeant Romero. I'm Sergeant Friday, Central Homicide.
How are you? My name's Claude Jimerson. Lieutenant Barker's in here, on the phone.
Hi, Captain. Yeah. I'll let you. Romero, Friday.
How's it going, Lieutenant?
Not good. You met Mr. Jimerson?
Oh, sure. Sit down, gentlemen. Would you like some coffee? I can have the wife make some.
No, thank you.
We didn't want to bother the girl's parents any more than we had to. Jimerson here is one of the neighbors. He's been nice enough to let us use his phone.
The kids disappeared about 4 this afternoon, is that right?
At 3:45. Got out a local broadcast on him. Here's a missing report.
Thelma Griswold, age 11. Barbara Sperry, 7-year-old. You talked to both families?
Yeah. About 3:30 this afternoon, Mrs. Griswold sent her daughter to the grocery store down on Sycamore Avenue. It's about 10 blocks from their home. The Sperry girl, a friend of hers, she went with her.
Anybody at the store remember seeing them?
According to the grocery clerk, they were there about 3:45. Mother gave the kids a note. She bought a loaf of white bread, a half-pound of bacon, a dozen oranges.
Yeah.
That's right, Sergeant. I hope nothing's happened to the kids. We've been neighbors to the Griswolds for years. Sperry's, too.
Did you notice if the little girls were going in the direction of their home?
Yes, they were. The last time I saw them, they were about a block away, heading straight for home. Little Sperry girl had a dog with her, Champ, I think they call him. He's a collie.
And he's missing, too.
That's right, Joe. Not a trace of the kids or the dog. Juvenile officers from 77 sticking in the neighborhood for the past 3 hours.
And are the girls in the habit of wandering off like this?
Parents say no. It's the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks very much, Mr. Jimerson.
Well, not at all, Sergeant. Sure you won't have a coffee?
No, thanks. We don't like to bother you, but we may have to check back with you later tonight. Blue questions.
If I can help out in any way to find those girls, let me know.
Yeah, we'll let you know, gentlemen. Thanks again.
Nice film.
Yeah, most of the neighbors we've talked to have been the same, anxious to help. Some of them are out with our juvenile officers now trying to dig up a lead on the kids.
You check the movie theater and the playgrounds in the neighborhood.
Everything, Joe.
Those some of your men from juvenile, Lieutenant?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, Schwartz and Preston.
Lieutenant?
Yeah, Preston, what you got?
Found the kid's dog, Tully.
Where?
Just above Sanchez Drive up in the hills. Hope it's no indication.
How do you mean?
Dog's dead.
The collie dog was taken to a veterinarian on Jefferson Boulevard to be examined for cause of death. We put in a call to the office, and a special detail of men was assigned to aid in searching the area where the dog was discovered. We got out an all-points bulletin. The fathers of the missing girls and a dozen neighbors joined in the search. With the aid of flash, as best we could, for almost a full mile by a thick passage at 15 p.m. Started to rain.
Watch your step, Joe. The rocks are slip.
There's not a soul.
Wait
a minute. Flash your light over here. Oh, here.
See something?
I thought I did. A scrap of brown paper.
Who's this coming?
Sergeant, is that you?
Oh, Jimerson? Yeah, what's that you got?
I found it right down there, just off the path. Paper sack. Look.
Loaf of bread, a few oranges, a package of bacon.
Where'd you find it? Right down there. Mr. Holmquist and me, we were heading back for the cars when I saw this bag lying to one side of the bush.
We'll take it, Jimerson. Thanks. Let's go, man.
That means that Barbara and Thelma were up here today.
You haven't mentioned that to either one of the girls' fathers. Yeah, it is. Not impossible. Where we had found the gross men was assigned to be on hand to help in the search when it resumed at daylight. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Harry Elliott of Homicide were notified of late developments. At 25 minutes past midnight, we started to retrace the steps of the two missing girls from the time they left their homes at 3:30 the afternoon before. We covered every foot of ground along the route which the girls reportedly took on their way to the grocery store. We got the grocery clerk out of bed and interviewed him again. We talked with two elderly ladies in the neighborhood who said that they had seen the missing children between 3 and 4 p.m. the previous afternoon. They could add nothing to what Jimerson had already told us. 3:30 a.m. It was still raining hard. We drove back to South Peoria Street and sat in the car. The lights were still burning in the homes of the missing youngsters, the Griswolds and the Sperrys. Jimerson asked us in for coffee again. This time we accepted. We went in and sat around the kitchen table. Glenn Chandler and Stendhal from Homicide, Lieutenant Barker, Ben, and myself. Jimerson's wife made the coffee. There wasn't much talking.
You want more coffee?
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Miss Jimerson. Thank you.
You want some more?
No, thanks. It's fine.
You want some more coffee?
You got enough there?
Sure, Lieutenant. Plenty. Go ahead.
Right.
Fill the sugar bowl, will you, Amy? Empty.
There isn't any more. You never do things right. I told you to get some at the store today.
You told me?
Yeah, that's all right, Jimerson. Never use it anyway. Thanks.
Never do anything right.
All right, Amy, go to bed. She's a little upset. Not feeling too well.
Well, I guess we better be going, Jimerson. Thanks.
No, that's all right, Sergeant. She didn't mean you. It's this whole thing, I guess. Got everybody on edge. There's still a chance they may be all right.
How do we explain the bag of groceries we found back in the hills and the dog?
If anybody's hurt those kids, we'll take care of him right here in this neighborhood. He'll get what's coming to him.
Somebody at your back door?
Oh, yes, I'll be.
Sergeant Friday here?
Yes, he's here. Come on in. Sergeant.
All right, Tom.
Hi.
What do you got?
Mr. Griswold, Joe. Says he'd like to have you come over and talk to him. Figures it'll make his wife feel better, all broken up.
Sure. Come on, Ben. We'll be over at the Griswolds, Lieutenant.
All right.
Thank you for the coffee, Jameson. Not at all. If you get a chance, tell Griswold how sorry everybody is. We'll help all we can.
Sure.
Bad night.
Yeah. Did you check by the Sperry's house, Tom?
Mm-hmm. Mother's trying to get a little sleep. The father's still sitting up. There he is, by the window.
Yeah.
This is the Griswold home.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. They're going to ask questions. What are we going to tell them?
I don't know.
They could be all right. Kids do funny things sometimes.
Maybe, but they don't murder their pet dog. Like a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, the police officer comes to realize that there's only so much that can be learned from his books. Time and experience make up the rest. The police manual contains no stock answers for the grieving wife who has just lost a husband in an auto accident, no firm but polite reply to the belligerent motorist handed a traffic tag, No words of reassurance for distraught parents of missing girls, ages 11 and 7. Whether it's trapping criminals or comforting parents, you find the right answer the hard way. There isn't any other way. We sat and talked with the Griswolds for a full hour. We didn't tell them about the dog or the bag of groceries. Until the fate of the 2 little girls was definitely decided, we figured giving them the information would serve no purpose except to add to their worries. 5 minutes past 5 a.m., almost a full hour until daylight. It was still raining.
George, maybe the officers would like some breakfast before they leave.
No, thank you kindly, Miss Griswold. We had some sandwiches about an hour ago.
Sure I can't fix you something? No trouble.
No, sir. Thanks, anyway.
Terrible night. Rain.
Now, Helen, just a little while longer. We'll find the girls. It'll be daylight soon.
Ms. Griswold, some of your neighbors tell us that there were 2 strangers here in the neighborhood this afternoon.
Yes, but that was earlier. Mrs. Nelson next door and I were talking about it. One was a gardener looking for work. The other one was selling books.
What time were they around, ma'am?
Book salesman till about noon. The gardener about 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. How is your daughter about strangers? Does she make friends easily?
No, not at all. Thelma's very careful about that. She'd never go with a stranger, I'm sure.
Why do you ask that question, Sergeant? Have you found out something?
No, sir. No, we haven't. It's just a routine check, that's all.
I can't understand it. The girl. Out in all this rain, something must have happened. I know.
Now, Helen, you've been doing fine. Don't let down now.
Joe, Chief Brown's car just pulled up outside.
Thanks, sir. Ben?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Griswold, Ms. Griswold.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Here, let me show you the door.
We'll meet at the end of Sanchez Drive, Mr. Griswold, about 6 a.m. Should be light enough by then.
Oh, all right. Oh, Sergeant, there is a chance, isn't there? The girls are all right.
There's a good chance. You try not to worry. Come on, Ben. Pressy. Tom, you want to check with Barker again and see if any of his men have a line on the 2 men here in the neighborhood yet?
Right.
If you want us, we'll be in Thad Brown's car.
All right, Sergeant.
What time you got, Joe?
20 to 6. It's getting light now.
Yeah. Let's get out of this rain.
Gentlemen, you look a little wet.
I could stand a dry pair of shoes.
Still no trace of the kids?
You heard about the dog and the bag of groceries?
Yeah. Nothing else sensitive?
No. It'll be light in a couple of minutes, and we can start searching the hills again.
I ordered up another detail of men to help. They're parked up on Sanchez Drive. Captain Elliott's with them.
Good. We can use all the help we can get. That's rough terrain. There's a lot of ground to cover up there.
Guess you talked to everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, parents, too.
They help you much?
Well, they told us there were 2 strangers in the neighborhood before the girls disappeared. We're having them checked out.
Yeah.
Griswold thinks the kids would be safe on that count. Says his daughter's afraid of strangers, never goes near them.
Mm-hmm. How much area did you cover in the hills last night?
About a 4 mile, would you say, Ben? Starting from Sanchez Drive, straight back into the brush.
It wasn't too thorough. Not enough men, not enough light.
Yeah, you got plenty of both right now.
10 minutes past 6 a.m., Tuesday, October 28th. The search of the Sunset Hills area was resumed. 150 officers spread out over a 2-square-mile area with orders to probe every foot of ground. With them were almost 50 volunteers from the neighborhood. The rain settled to a cold, steady downpour. The mud was ankle deep. 8:30 a.m., no sign of the missing youngsters. 10:30, still no sign. The search went on. A neighborhood restaurant owner sent out 5-gallon jugs of hot coffee for members of the searching party. After 6 continuous hours combing the hill, still no results. Chief Brown, Ben, and I went to the car for a cup of coffee and a cigarette.
It's got me beat. Those kids wandered off. They had to come in this direction.
Well, they couldn't have headed toward town. Somebody would have noticed them, sure.
Yeah. No leads at all on that APV you sent out?
2. They both fizzled.
The youngsters up in those hills someplace. Gotta be. You 2 ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Sure doesn't figure. 2 square miles. We've been over it twice.
You can go over it again. Find them.
Thelma Griswold, age 11. Barbara Sperry, age 7. Tuesday, October 28th, 2 p.m. They were still missing. Another detail of men from Metropolitan Division were dispatched to aid in the hunt. The daily newspapers played the story across the front page. Wire services bulletined the news across the country. Radio newscasters covered the story at the scene. On South Peoria Street, the two mothers sat in their homes and waited. The search went on. It stopped raining.
Did you cover that patch of underbrush over there, Joe?
Yeah. Watch it.
Yeah. I'm tired.
Let's swing up this way.
All right.
Anything?
No, nothing.
All right, come on. Almost 2:30.
Yeah. Too much coffee, sour stomach.
Me too. You got a cigarette? I'm out.
Oh, here.
Thanks.
Randy! Romero! Come on down!
Weston, what do you got? What is it?
They found him! They found the kid!
Come on. Watch it, Ben. Bad spot here.
Yeah, it's slippery.
Thelma Griswold had brown hair and brown eyes, about 4 feet 6 inches tall. She had a bunch of wildflowers in her hands. Barbara Sperry had blonde hair and blue eyes. She held a bunch of wildflowers, too.
Friday?
Chief? Who found them?
Jemerson, some of the neighbors.
Oh.
Dear God.
Preston.
Yes, sir?
Get something, cover him up.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Yeah.
Been a cop 32 years and never seen anything like that. I hope I never do again.
Must have been a maniac. Had to be.
The lowest kind, depraved.
Anybody call the crime lab?
Yeah, the area's been cleared.
Family's been notified?
Not yet. I'll have to tell them. You want to come along?
No, that wouldn't be any good.
2 lives. What can you say?
Whoever did it ran up a big bill.
They're going to pay it.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Now listen to these authentic reports about Fatima cigarettes.
Sales reports show that Fatima has more than doubled its smokers from coast to coast.
Smokers' reports give the actual reason for this astonishing gain.
Hear what Mr. W.B. Williams of New York has to say about Fatima.
Well, I could see even mildness, no irritation. There's something about the taste of Fatima that doesn't seem to be in any other cigarette.
In the words of Miss Marie Blacker of Chicago,
my friends are switching to Fatima, too. It's much the best of long cigarettes.
Listen to this statement by Miss Cecilia Marr of Los Angeles.
I like Fatima best. It's so mild and has a wonderful flavor.
Yes, from all reports, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
5 minutes after the bodies were discovered, the hunt for the psychopathic killer was underway. Lee Jones and his crew from the crime lab arrived and took pictures of everything that could possibly have a bearing on the crime. Physical evidence was hard to find. The heavy rain had destroyed any possible chance there might have been of finding footprints. When the crew from the crime lab was finished, the coroner arrived and took the bodies to the county morgue for autopsy. An immediate roundup of all known sexual psychopaths in the area was ordered. They were taken into homicide for questioning. So were the people from the South Peoria Street neighborhood whom we had talked with previously. The questioning went on all through the night. Together with a half a dozen officers from homicide detail, we narrowed down the field. Wednesday, October 29th, 7 a.m. We checked in with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Gentlemen, you must be tired.
Got a few hours sleep last night. Could use a few more.
Sorry, we have to keep moving on this.
Did you see the papers this morning?
Yeah, they're like everybody else, crying too late. Someday people are going to learn you don't fool with these degenerates. You take precautions or you get the consequences. There's no in-between.
There's usual talk going around town. It's supposed to be all our fault, letting the psychos run loose.
We don't make the laws, we enforce them. Until we got something to work with, laws with teeth in them, these atrocities are going to go on.
Nobody seems to care. We pick them up, they serve a few days, pay a fine, and they waltz out of here. Nobody cares.
Sure, pity them, don't cure them. Nature played a trick on them. Feel sorry for them until they kill a kid. It's not a firm law to cover them as they are. We have to wait till they murder somebody.
We've got a better law for mad dogs. We don't let them run loose till they bite somebody.
Those 2 little girls ought to prove something. How's the parents making out?
What you might expect. Shocked, hysterics. Excuse me. Brown speaking. Who? Send him in. Chandler. They finished questioning that bunch we brought in yesterday.
Oh, Chief. Ben, Joe?
How many possibles, Glenn?
None. 4 we had left established airtight alibis. We checked their registrations, gave them their releases.
Where does that leave us?
We start from scratch.
I don't think so, Chief.
You got a hunch?
A little better than that, Joe. I'm sold.
What do you mean?
You said the parents told you the little girls were afraid of strangers, wouldn't go near them.
That's right.
We got the same reactions from some of the neighbors we talked to the day before yesterday.
Yeah?
Now we find out that all the known psychos in the area are clear, perfect alibis.
When you figure the killer couldn't have been a stranger to the little girls.
That's right. There were only 2 strangers in the whole neighborhood the day the girls disappeared, the gardener and the salesman. And both of them have been checked and cleared.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, the little girls wouldn't have gone that far up in the hills alone of their own accord, and they wouldn't have gone with a stranger. They had to be lured there and by someone they knew.
Any ideas?
Could have been one of the neighbors.
No, we checked every possible out there, Glenn. We questioned them a half a dozen times.
So have I. There's one that might fit.
Who's that?
Claude Jimerson.
Glenn Chandler had been a veteran homicide officer before Ben or I joined the department. He was tall, quiet, and reserved. He had a good reason for everything he did, for everything he thought. The 3 of us sat down and tried to put the pieces together. Number 1, Chandler uncovered a point that Ben and I had missed completely. Jimerson and his wife were not close friends of either the Sperry family or the Griswolds. For a near stranger, he showed an extraordinary interest in the welfare of the children after they disappeared. Number 2, Ben and I discovered that Jimerson's wife had an 8-year-old boy by a previous marriage. The child did not live with them. Mrs. Jimerson told Chandler that her husband had been cruel to the boy. She refused to elaborate. Number 3, Jimerson was the last person to see the children alive. Number 4, the bodies of the children had been well hidden in the underbrush. Jimerson found them. Number 5, Jimerson had bent over backwards to make friends with the investigating officers right from the start. As any veteran officer can tell you, that's not the usual attitude. At 8:30 a.m., Chandler, Ben, and I left the office. We spent the day digging back 15 years into Jimerson's life. We got back to the office just after midnight. Thursday, October 30th, 10 a.m. We checked in.
Okay, Joe, all ready.
Thanks. Come on, Ben. Good morning, Mr. Jimerson.
Oh. How are you, Sergeant? Glad to see you.
Sit down. Sorry to bother you again.
Not at all. Glad to help. Anything new turn up?
Did you kill those 2 little girls?
That's a funny thing to ask. Of course not. You know that.
We ask everybody the same thing. Hope you're not offended.
Oh, you kind of surprised me. I didn't know.
Did you kill those little girls?
I don't understand. I told you no. Of course not.
It's a stock question. Routine. Did you kill them?
Now, look, Sergeant, how many times do I have to tell you no?
Sorry. You don't have any children, do you?
No, we don't.
No stepchildren?
No. Why?
Before you moved out to South Peoria Street, you and the wife lived out in West L.A., didn't you? Kelton Avenue?
Oh, yes. How'd you know?
You recall a Mary Gibbs out there?
Gibbs? No.
6-year-old girl. You were charged with molesting her. That was back in 1944.
They were crazy. They never proved it.
Before Kelton Avenue, you lived in Santa Monica on 10th Street. Is that right?
Yes.
It was an 8-year-old girl. Donna Honrath.
That kid lied, too. She asked me to fix her doll buggy. I never went near her.
What about your stepson? Why isn't he living with you? Why did your wife send him to live with her sister?
Amy's crazy. I never harmed the boy. We didn't get along, that's all. It got on my nerves.
You've had 4 jobs in the past 5 years. What were they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were a janitor at a grammar school down the south end of town, then a gardener at a children's playground. Then you were a shoe salesman, children's shoes. Then you worked at another grammar school.
What does all this mean, anyway? What are you getting at?
Have you ever been in jail?
Once. 6 months. There was some trouble.
What kind of trouble?
I didn't know what I was doing. I was drinking. I didn't mean to bother the kid. Well?
That's all, Jimerson. Routine questioning. You can go now.
Oh, thanks. I hope you haven't got the wrong idea about me. I like children, that's all.
Sure. Thanks for coming in.
Well, not at all, Sergeant. Anything I can do to help. Well, goodbye.
Say, Jimerson, I almost forgot. There is one thing.
Oh?
Since you're the one who found the little girls, we'll have to have you identify the bodies.
It won't take long. The morgue's just across the street, up the block.
Well, I'd like to help you, but I got an appointment.
All you have to do is look at them. We'll take you along. Come on, let's go.
I'd like to help, Sergeant, but I don't take these things well. I get sick.
We'll make it right. Out this way.
It's raining again.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I don't think I better go.
Just identify them, that's all. Won't take a minute.
Maybe if we had a drink before we went in.
You can have one after.
And watch it. There's heavy traffic.
Yeah, lights change. We'll have to wait.
I need a drink. I can't go in that place without a drink.
You'll be all right. Okay, let's go. Morgue's up this way.
I can't look at him. I get sick. Don't make me.
Nothing to it. You'll see. Here we are. We went down the driveway. It's a shortcut. This way.
Hi, Joe. Can I help you?
Yeah, Archie. Those little girls. Thelma Griswold. Barbara Sperry.
Oh, yeah. This way.
Please.
Right here, Joe. Yeah, Thelma Griswold.
Uncover. Jimerson?
Yeah. Thelma.
This one?
Barbara. Little one.
You killed him, didn't you?
The dog jumped at me. She started to yell. Put my hand over her mouth. Then the other kid. I hit them. Too hard. They cried.
Joe?
That's all.
All right. Huh?
Let's go.
It wasn't my fault. I like kids. They didn't understand.
Neither do I, mister. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here's the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
They find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes. Claude Willis Jimerson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. On April 23rd at 10 a.m., he was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton.
You're tuned for the stars on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 16 persons have been robbed and beaten senseless. The victims describe the assailant as a tall, beautiful woman. Your job, stop her.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Ladies and gentlemen, next week marks the beginning of National Crime Prevention Week, sponsored by your local police department. These 7 days are set aside to call your attention to the fact that your police officer, to better ensure the safety of your community, relies on the cooperation of the individual citizen. We feel that crime prevention should be observed not 7, but 365 days a year.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, October 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. We were on the way over from the city hall, and it was 6:55 p.m. when we got to the county hospital. Ward 9800, room 12.
This way, gentlemen. The third bed.
Thank you.
Here we are. Please try not to excite him, Sergeant. He's had a pretty hard time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Make your visit as brief as possible.
We will, thanks.
Mr. Maloney, how are you feeling?
Not so good. You fellas doctors?
No, sir. Police officers. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. Robbery detail.
Oh. Find out anything yet?
Still checking, Mr. Maloney. We'd like to have you tell us exactly what happened right before that.
Well, she sure had me fooled. That's all I can say.
You're not the first one. 15 others ahead of you. Would you tell us what happened?
Well, I left the shop a little after midnight, and I started to drive home out Central Avenue.
You work at Maloney's Steakhouse down on South Commercial, isn't that right?
Yes, and my uncle owns the place. His name's J. Brown Maloney. He knows a lot of cops. You know him?
We met him this afternoon. Could you tell us what happened after you left work?
Well, I started to drive home out Central Avenue. I guess it must have been around 18th Street. Would you push it, Bill, up a little
Yes,
bit?
sir. I'll get it here.
Thanks. I pulled up for the arterial, and I saw this gal standing on the corner. She was hitchhiking.
Do you remember what she looked like, how she was dressed?
Well, you know, kind of flashy, but nice clothes. Good-looking dame. Tall, long blonde hair. Beautiful eyes.
You're sure about the color of her hair?
Yeah, it was blonde.
And you offered her a ride?
I didn't think there was anything wrong in it. I'm a married man, you know. I didn't think there was anything wrong.
What happened then?
Well, she got in a car and we drove off. We talked a while and then she pulled a gun on me. Told me to drive up an alley.
Where was that? Do you remember?
Around 32nd Street, 32nd and Central.
And then what?
She took my wallet, watch, car keys, everything I had.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me get out of the car, lay down on the street. I felt her shove that gun again. Can you fix that pillow?
Yeah, you bet. Just lie still here. There you are.
I felt her shove that gun against me, and then she pulled the trigger, I guess. That's all I remember.
You don't recall her slugging you?
It must have happened after she shot me. Her face looks pretty bad, huh?
You'll be all right, Mr. Maloney. You think you'd recognize the girl if you saw her again?
I sure would. Nice looking, you know. Tall, blonde, beautiful shape. Doesn't figure, does it?
What's that?
She'd make more money on the stage than she would rolling guys like me. Must be crazy.
Maybe. Would you look at these mug shots, Mr. Maloney, and see if any of these look like her?
Let's see.
There you are. This one?
No.
What this one here?
No. Let's see. No.
How about this one?
No, she was better looking.
Well, here's the last one.
I don't know. This might be her. The hair was fixed right. Maybe a little more makeup. I'm not sure.
All right, Mr. Maloney. Thank you.
We'll be back to see you in a day or so when you're feeling better.
Okay. Say, my name won't be in the papers, will it?
No, sir, not unless you give it to him.
I was just wondering if a wife might not understand giving a girl a ride, you know?
Yes, sir, we know.
Well, thank you, Mr. Maloney. We'll be checking back with you later on.
Okay, officers. I hope you get a line on that dame.
We're going to try. Goodbye.
Sure messed up, isn't it?
Yeah. That dame's got some other motive besides money.
Psycho. Some kind of a sadist, maybe.
Find out what you wanted, Sergeant.
Yes, we did. Thanks, nurse. What'd the doctor say about Maloney? Is he going to be all right?
Well, he had a severe beating, but he'll get over that all right. It's the bullet wound in the back.
He'll recover, won't he?
The bullet shattered part of the spinal cord. There was nothing the doctor could do.
Yeah?
Paraplegia. He'll never walk again.
We left the county hospital, went back to the office, and got out a local broadcast for the woman whose mugshot Maloney had partially identified. Her name was Beverly Allen. She had a record of 3 arrests and 1 conviction of 240 PC, assault and battery. After we checked in the office, we went across the street to the crime lab. Lee Jones had already examined the bullet taken from Maloney's spine and the cartridge casing found at the scene of the shooting. Both of them bore the same markings as those which had wounded the 2 previous victims. From the striations, the gun had been previously identified as a .45 Colt. Maloney's car was examined. We found nothing. We went back to the city hall and checked in at the stats office. It was 8:35 p.m.
Hi, Ethel. Make that run for us yet?
Just a minute, Sergeant.
How you coming, Ethel?
Fine here. Same old run. I'm back 7 years on this one.
Yeah, that's right. Did you get any more names?
A few. Let me check the list for you.
All right.
Why, the names and DR numbers on Caucasian women. 5 feet to 5 feet 8, 115 to 130 pounds, 20 to 30 years, blonde or brunette, assault and battery, M.O. Hitchhikes, rides, and robs drivers, uses gun.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's what the machine turned out, 19 of them.
Good.
Here are the names. The DR numbers opposite each one.
Fine. Very new name?
A few more than the last time. Anything else for the night?
No, that's it for now. Thanks a lot, Ethel. Let's go. Bad start.
How's that?
17 of these names we checked and cleared already.
And the other 2?
Well, one's Catherine Collins. The other one's Beverly Allen. She might tie in.
We got nothing else to go on.
You want to get to the record bureau and pull the packages on these 2 names?
Yeah, okay.
I'll check robbery and see if we have any calls. Huh?
Right, Joe.
Okay. Hi, Captain. Any calls for us?
Just one. Thad Brown wants to see you.
Oh, bad mood?
Kind of. Wants me, too. Let's go. That fella Maloney tell you anything?
Nothing that helped much. Same old story. No reports on that broadcast we put out for that Beverly Allen?
Not yet? No. You banking on it?
It's first lead in 16 nights.
Here we are.
Walker, Friday, come in.
How are you, boss?
Sit down. Take a look.
Woman bandit gets 16th victim. Beautiful hold-up queen robs, shoots restaurant worker. Yeah?
It's on the editorial page, too. Something else. Memo from the chief. Here, letter from the Downtown Citizens Committee. Another one, Civic Club. They all want answers.
Men are doing all they can, Chief. We got 2 other teams besides Friday and Romero working the case. Special squad from Metropolitan Division. They're on it, too.
I don't care what we've done. We got to do more. 16 nights, 16 robberies, and 3 shootings. 3 victims still in the hospital. When do we blow the whistle on her?
We've checked out every possible lead, Chief. We got a warrant out on one suspect. We're checking out another one. Talked to that man Maloney, the one she got last night.
Well, what did he tell you?
Not much more than the other 15 that she took. Descriptions still don't match in one respect.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, in 10 of the 16 cases we've had reported, the victims tagged the girl hitchhiker as a blonde, long hair. 4 of them say she was a brunette with a short hairdo. 2 of them tell us that the girl had red hair, long.
She's using wigs, that's what we figured. We checked every place in town where she could have rented or bought them. No leads.
What about some of the bigger supply houses out of town?
We've started in checking them. It'll take a little time.
And you've got practically nothing on the woman.
Same gun, .45 Colt. Lee Jones examined the bullet they took out of Maloney's spine.
How's he doing?
Not good. The bullet smashed his spinal cord. His legs are paralyzed.
When do we stop her? Yeah? Romero?
Hi, Chief. Captain.
What have you got?
Pulled the packages on 2 possibles in this woman hold-up thing. It's no good, Joe.
Why not? What about that Allen dame?
Jail in Kansas City? I called him. Been in for a month.
And the other one?
Catherine Collins. I checked Seattle. Been in the hospital up there for the past 3 months in TB ward.
Where does that leave you, Friday? Right back where we started. No leads and no suspects.
All right, Walker. Starting tonight, we cover every street and alley in the central area until we get that woman. We'll order up more men and more detectives from the Metropolitan Division.
Right, Chief.
Get out more decoy cars. Have the area covered from sundown till sunrise until further notice. Get that woman.
Right. Come on, Joe.
Hot shot.
I get it.
The 211 shooting at Gatewood and Cameron. The 211 shooting at Gatewood and Cameron.
Let's go. The name on his driver's license said William Gillespie. We found him 50 feet from the corner of Gatewood Alley and Cameron Street. His face and head bore the marks of a vicious beating. There was a single bullet wound in his left shoulder. He was conscious when we arrived. Chief of Detectives Brown, Captain Walker, and Ben checked the area for physical evidence. I spoke briefly with the victim before he was placed on a stretcher and carried to the ambulance. On the way, he lapsed into unconsciousness. I went over to where Ben was standing with Chief Brown and Captain Walker.
Take a look, Joe. Captain found over there near the lamppost.
Yeah, 45 shell casing, same as the others.
How's Gillespie, Friday?
Doc says he'll be all right. Badly beaten.
Tough dame. She really works him over.
Wonder what makes a woman do things like this.
What makes a man do it? William Gillespie was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The shell casing, which we had found at the scene, was taken to Lee Jones at the crime lab for examination. It compared with the others. Jones confirmed that the markings on the bullet, which had wounded Gillespie, matched those on the bullet which had been taken from Maloney's bag. Both bullets had been fired from the same gun. The Dragnet operation for the woman bandit went on. The men in the special detail covered every street and alley in the central area from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following morning. During the next 5 days, 11 suspects were picked up and brought in for questioning and released after the victims failed to identify any of them.
Well, at least we got her stopped temporarily. She hasn't pulled a caper for almost a week.
Well, it doesn't bring us any closer to her. I don't know about you, but it's got me beat. 17 jobs, and she's as free today as she was before she started.
Joe, Ben, what'd you find?
Nothing. The last 4 women we questioned were clear.
What about the other men on the case, Ed? Did they get anything?
Baxter and Olson are down at the record bureau. Be in a minute. They've been out talking to some of the victims again. Tough one.
I've been thinking, how about a composite picture? We got enough to work with?
Artist in the crime lab's working up a couple of sketches now. A lot of guesswork.
What about the descriptions of the clothes the girl wears? Anything there we could start on?
No, other than the fact that she wears flashy clothes.
Hi, Olson.
Hi. Any luck?
Not much. None of the victims have a very good idea what the dame looked like. Tall, good-looking, nice figure, that's all.
Nothing out of the ordinary, huh?
Well, some of them said she had kind of an unusual voice, soft, low. That's about all they could remember.
Not much help.
She's been described in 3 different outfits, is that right?
Yeah, green dress with a pink coat, white dress, dark blue jacket, bright red sweater, and a brown skirt. Always carries a dark brown alligator handbag, shoes to match, no hat.
Not much of a wardrobe, is it?
Maybe that's why she took up robbery.
Now, look, let's get on this thing. We've been chasing this woman for almost a month now, and she's still got the run of the town. How long's it going to take us?
If we only had a lead that was worth something.
Find it. It's there someplace. I've never reached a thief yet without digging for him.
I'll get it. Robbery Olson. Yeah. Right, Andy. I'll tell him. Anderson and burglar Joe wants to see you and Ben.
Thanks. Captain?
That's all.
Come on, Ben.
Yeah. I'd like a day off, wouldn't you? We'll get one when we get this dame.
Right, Ed.
This thing isn't doing much for the skipper.
It's not doing much for our time off either, is it?
That fire department's got the racket. 24 hours on, 24 off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they get 3 days off in a row.
That's what you keep telling me. Here we are.
Joe? Ben?
Andy, what do you got?
Checking back on a job out in Hollywood. Heard you were having troubles. Came across this thing. Thought it might help you out.
What's that, Ann?
One of the picture studios had a burglary about a month ago. Thief got in the wardrobe department, then next door in the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see.
Here's some of the stuff taken. Dress, coat. Oh, here, you can read it.
Okay, thanks. Mm-hmm. Red sweater, brown skirt.
Hey, look down here, Joe.
Where?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. Took 2 makeup kits and 4 wigs.
2 blondes, 1 redhead, 1 brunette. That's it.
Any leads on this job?
Not so far, no. We got one thing to go on. Single footprint, size 9.
Pretty large size for a woman.
I didn't say it was a woman. Print was made by a man's shoe.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Those words are echoing across the country. Yes, Fatima has more than doubled its sales because Fatima smokers are telling their friends it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And why?
Because Fatima contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
So, for a much different, much better flavor and aroma, smoke Fatima.
One of the most popular misconceptions of the working detective as offered by the fiction writers is the picture of a man with amazing talents for detecting evidence, analyzing human behavior and motives, and then, almost as if by magic, fitting all the pieces together to form the solution of the crime. The real-life picture is a little different. The working detective has a job. In a sense, it's a practical and down-to-earth job as baking bread or practicing law. It's his job to protect citizens and apprehend criminals, and it's a job he doesn't do alone. To assist him in collecting and analyzing evidence, he has the aid of the crime laboratory. To help him identify oddities in suspects or possible suspects, he has the Record Bureau, latent fingerprints, the statistician's office, the ballistics department. A battery of men and machines to aid him in reaching conclusions based on fact. Tuesday, October 9th, 9 p.m. For the past 8 hours, Baxter and Olson from robbery and Ben and I had been requesting all of the 16 victims of the woman bandit. We asked them one question. Could their assailant possibly have been a man dressed as a woman? The majority didn't think so. Those that did weren't very sure. We followed the lead through. At 9:25 p.m., we checked in and headed down the hall for the stats office.
Do you think it was a man dressed as a woman?
I don't know.
1 male footprint, pretty slim odds.
Maybe the machines here can tell us.
Hello, Sergeant.
Back again, Ethel. Can you make a run for us tonight?
9:25. Sure, I think so.
And here's the dope right here.
I'm going to try another angle, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. Male Caucasian. About 5 feet 8 or 9, 130 to 135 pounds. Feminine features, size 9 shoe. Impersonating woman, robbery and assault.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. Arm, 45 automatic. M.O. Hitchhikes, rides, and robs drivers.
How soon do you think you can have it for us?
Well, we'll make the run on the collator. Have to punch up the master first with all this information and let the machine with the cards. I don't think I'll have it for you much before 11, that all right?
Fine, yes.
We'll check back a little before 11 then, huh?
They'll be ready.
Good. Come on, Ben. Did you call your wife after dinner?
Yeah. Wish I had, and she's mad as a hornet.
What's the matter?
Kid's having a birthday party tomorrow, and I forgot to order the cake.
What's she going to do for the party? Bake one?
She have to.
And she pulled this gun on me and told me to stop the car. Well, I'm telling you, Captain, I just grabbed that gun and slapped that kid just as hard as I could.
Hold it just a minute, will you, please, Collins? This man's name is Emil Collins. Mr. Collins is Sergeant Friday, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? I was just telling the captain here, I'm down here on a vacation. I'm from Sacramento, South Sacramento. I was driving down your Figueroa Street about half an hour ago and picked up this girl hitching a ride, and she tried to rob me.
Collins took the gun away from her, subdued the girl, and brought her in.
Where is she now?
Interrogation room. Baxter and Olson are with her.
The description match?
Not too close.
Sounds like you didn't have too much trouble with her, Mr. Collins.
Well, now that I come to think of it, maybe I didn't. When she pointed that gun, I just grabbed for it and slapped her as hard as I could. Sure took the starch out of her.
Who is the girl? Any identification?
None. Baxter and Olson haven't been able to get anything out of her. You want to try?
Sure.
What do you think, Skipper?
You tell me. See if you can make her talk. I'll have a stenographer take Mr. Collins' report.
Okay. Glad to meet you, Mr. Collins.
That's a pleasure. I'm only down here for a vacation, but if you need me, just call.
You bet we will, thanks. How do you figure them? I don't know. See what the girl has to say. Olson?
Joe, I want to talk to you before you go in.
Sure.
Did you finally get her to talk?
Well, Baxter did. Pretty sure she's not the one we're after.
What's her story?
Said she read about this woman bandit in the paper, decided to try her hand at it, needed money.
Yeah?
Claims her husband left her. She's pregnant, needs the dough for a hospital.
She live here?
Up the coast, Monterey. Got in town 4 days ago, staying at the YWCA. We checked there. She's not lying.
You call Monterey?
Yeah, they confirmed it. She left there last Wednesday night. She's not the one.
Where do we go from here?
You'll take care of having her booked, huh, Olson?
Yeah, as soon as we get a station.
Okay, fine.
Friday, Ben, this way. Hustle it. You too, Olson.
What do you got, Ed?
4th and Lucas, 211 shooting. Let's go.
Any detail?
Yeah. A tall blonde with a gun. Come on.
The woman bandit's 18th victim was a truck driver. His name, Harry Reese. His story differed a little from that of the first victim. The woman was hitchhiking near Alvarado and 3rd Street. He gave her a ride. She robbed him at gunpoint, slugged him, and then shot him through the left shoulder. He described her as tall, blonde, attractive, and well-dressed.
Guess I should have known better. I remember reading about the dame in the papers.
You're sure that the person who held you up was a woman?
I don't get you.
What he means is you don't think it could have been a man dressed like a woman.
Oh, no, I'm sure of that. No guy ever looked that good to me.
All right, Mr. Reese. We'll check with you later at the hospital.
Okay.
Let them get through, will you? Just move. I wouldn't try, please.
We keeping that truck cleared?
Yeah, Olson's got a couple of men watching it. He's going over it.
Same old story. Just another version.
Don't you think she's spreading it pretty thin? Her luck can't last forever.
She's got me beat, how she always manages to disappear without a trace.
Yeah. No, Ben, this way, over here.
Yeah, okay.
What do you got?
Better hustle it. 4 blocks down on Colfax, a shooting. Just came in on the car radio.
Let's go. Slide over, Jim.
Yeah. Hit the sign, Ben.
The crowd, watch him.
Oh, that's Gilbert.
Is that all that came over, Ben, a shooting?
All they said, see the cab driver, ambulance shooting.
He's working real fast.
What's the address from now?
3rd and East Flower Hotel. Hold on. This is it coming up.
Should be to the right here. Yeah, take a right. That must be it up ahead. I can't see. What's that sign say?
Edgemar Hotel for young women.
Here's a cab driver.
Officer, right over here.
Hey, looks like blood stains to me here all over the sidewalk.
Yeah, I guess it couldn't have happened any more than 5 or 10 minutes ago. I had this fare. See, picked her up at 4th and Bixel, and I drove her here. She paid the fare and got out.
Yeah, go on.
I was about halfway down the block when I heard a shot. At least it sounded like one. When I looked back, this dame was down on one knee near the door to the hotel here, and by the time I backed up there, she was gone.
And you noticed the blood, huh?
That's right, yeah. I figured I better call somebody.
Can you tell us what the girl looked like?
Oh, not bad at all. Blonde, tall, pretty girl, nervous.
But you didn't see where she went?
No, but I didn't.
I'll get the driver's name and address. Joe, you and Ben, see if you can follow that trail. Stuff's all over the place.
Right. Over this way, Ben.
Yeah. It's not hard to follow.
Down this alley between the buildings.
How does this figure?
Let's find out. Here we go. All the way back here. You got your flashlight?
Yeah. Here it is.
Yeah, this way. Come on.
This must be the rear of the hotel.
Oh, look. The stains lead over this way to the back door here.
Let me try.
Okay, inside.
Still following?
Yeah. Careful. Up these stairs.
Yeah. Second floor. What's the matter? Did you lose him?
No. Just a minute.
See anything?
Yeah. Stains lead on up the stairs here. Let's go.
I just happened to think. This is a woman's hotel.
And they ought to keep the back door closed. Come on. 3rd floor. Let's hold it.
Where is it?
Thought I saw a door open down the hall.
See anybody?
No. Let's go. This way.
It's an easy trail to follow.
Now, this is it. They stop here at this door. That doesn't sound like a woman.
Yeah, you ready?
Now, try the door first. Easy.
It's locked.
All right, come on, together now. Let's hit it.
Yeah, all right. Watch it, Joe. All right, you. I got the gun.
Yeah. Well, we found what we came for. Look.
Still got the clothes on. Blonde wig, makeup, everything.
Please help me. My leg. Call an ambulance.
It's on the way. Take it easy.
Have a look, Joe. Wig, full makeup kit, clothes, living in a woman's hotel. The works.
It was an accident. You never would have got me. I dropped the gun. It went off. You never would have got me.
Yeah, that's right, mister.
It was an accident.
You better get the boss in here. I'll stay with Glamour Boy.
Yeah, okay.
And Ben.
Yeah?
Leave the door open, will you? House rules.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 14th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 79, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
They find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
The welfare and security of your home and your family is a subject of national importance next week, National Crime Prevention Week. The efficiency of your local police department is dependent upon your attitude toward your police officer. Not just 1 week out of the year, but every day in the year. He wants your cooperation. He needs your cooperation for the enforcement of your laws. Help your officer to help you to live in a peaceful, orderly community. National Crime Prevention Week costs you nothing, just your cooperation.
James Harold Sutter, alias the Bandit Queen, was tried and convicted on several counts of assault with attempt to commit murder and robbery of the first degree. He was sentenced to the term prescribed by law. While serving his time in the state penitentiary, he was stabbed to death by another inmate. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hear Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
The origins of Dragnet can be traced to a semi-documentary film, He Walked by Night, in 1948, in which Jack Webb had a small role. Both employed the same Los Angeles Police Department technical advisor. They used actual police cases and presented the case in a just-the-facts manner that became the hallmark of Dragnet. It's interesting to note that Jack Webb employed that format in other radio series, some predating the film mentioned above. And now, more Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. The owner of the first store has been shot and killed. Your only lead, a missing fur coat. The killer is at large. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, November 23rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. Boss is Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. My name's Friday. It was 6:35 p.m. and we got to the corner of Western and Lexington. The Western Fur Shop.
Hi, Brennan. Hi.
What happened, Frank?
The owner's been shot. Name's Albert Kreiber.
Yeah?
What is that? Mrs. Kreiber. Haven't been able to get anything out of her.
Where's the body?
In the back. Munkridge is back there.
Did you call the lab?
Yeah. Jones on his way. Photographer and fingerprint men with him.
All right, let's take a look.
Nothing seems to be messed up.
Back room is.
It was a small shop. A couple of fur coats on dummies on one side of the store, and on the other, a tall glass case holding about 15 more. Mrs. Kreiber sat on a straight-back chair staring at the floor. We went through the curtains into the back room of the store. Sprawled out on the floor at the far end of the room was the body of a man. He had a fur coat gripped in one hand. Sergeant Moncrief from Hollywood Division was standing by.
What do you figure, Monk?
Looks like a couple of hours.
You call the coroner?
Yeah.
How long you been here, Monk?
Just a couple of minutes.
You think Miss Kreiber moved anything here?
I don't think so. She was sitting in that chair when we got here. I don't think she'd moved except to call in.
Did she put in the call?
Yeah. Empty shells on the floor.
You got a pencil?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah. You think robbery?
I don't know. Let's talk to the wife.
Wait a minute. Bottle here.
Sierra Valley Wine Company. World's finest muscatel.
27 cents a pint.
Nobody touched this, did they?
No, well, I've been here.
Hey, let's get out front.
Anything in the customer files, Brennan?
Not so far.
You tried to talk to Miss Kreiber again?
No, pretty bad.
Well, let's give it a try. Miss Kreiber? I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Sergeant Romero. We'd like to talk to you if we could. We know how you must feel, but there are a few questions that we have to ask you. Did you telephone the police?
We have to know how it happened, Miss Kreiber.
Miss Kreiber? Can you tell us what happened?
Who is it? What do you want?
We're police officers.
Oh, Albert. Albert's dead. Albert! Albert! Someone call the police?
Miss Kreiber, we are the police.
My husband's been murdered. He's dead.
We better leave her.
Friday. Here's something I found in the customer file.
Miss Terry Shepard, 10113 Normandy, apartment 3. What about it?
She took her coat out that was in storage. Took it out today.
Well, we'll check her out when we're finished here. Thanks.
Looks like the only hot receipt in the file.
Hi, Lee.
Yeah, Daniel.
In the back room.
What is it?
Killing. Mercury's will show you.
Okay.
Think we ought to try the wife again?
I can try. Miss Kreiber, can we do anything for you?
Oh, I'm a little better. I'll try to tell you when I can.
All right. When did you get here?
It must have been about 6 o'clock, a few minutes after. I came to take him home.
Any customers around?
No, the store was empty. I stood here for a few minutes waiting, and I went in the back and...
Yes, was the front door open?
No. Yes, the front door?
Yes, ma'am, front.
Yes, open.
Did you telephone the police?
I think I did.
Did you come here to pick him up?
No. No, usually he drives home himself. I came down on the streetcar to ride home with him.
What kind of a car do you have?
An Oldsmobile. 1939. 40, I guess it is.
Where does he usually park?
In the rear of the store. There's a little place there.
I'll take a look.
All right. Where is your home?
3412 Northwestern. I thought there was something wrong when I got a telegram from him. He said not to come down tonight. He said he'd be home late.
What time was that?
About 4 o'clock. Well, I'm all mixed up. I haven't told it to you as I remember it. First I telephoned here to the shop.
That was this afternoon?
Yes, 3:30. I'm sure of that because I made some other calls. I spoke to Albert. He didn't say he was going to be late. Then at 4 o'clock, I received a telegram.
Do you have that with you?
Yes, it's in my purse somewhere. Somewhere. Oh, here it is.
All right. Thank you. Don't come down. I won't be home until late after see a customer, Albert. Can I keep this? We'll return it to you.
Yes.
What'd you do after you got this wire, Miss Crabber?
Well, nothing. I thought it was strange, but I didn't think too much about it. Then I started wondering why he didn't say anything over the telephone about being late. So I came down here on the streetcar.
Did you phone the store just before you left your house?
Yeah, but there was no answer.
Parking lot's empty.
Better get out an APB on the car, huh?
Miss Crabber, you said your car was a 1939 or 40 Oldsmobile, didn't you?
1940. I remember now.
What model is that?
Oh, sedan, light blue.
Do you remember the license number?
Well, I have it on this chain with the extra keys. Here it is, on this little tag. The veterans make these.
Thank you.
Joe, can I see him now?
Sure. Excuse me, Miss Crabber.
Do you want me to wait? I'd like to go home.
We'd like you to wait for a little while, yes. Do you have any relatives living here?
A niece and a nephew in Beverly Hills. Jerome Reed. They live on Cannon Drive.
All right, we'll call them for you.
Thank you.
Lee, is this phone out here all right to handle?
Yeah, it's been dusted.
Okay.
Joe, you coming in?
Yeah, right away.
It's pretty clear. Easy to trace.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he was standing over here by the curtains when he was shot. That's where the stains begin.
Mm-hmm.
Then he must have stumbled along this glass case. You can see the smears here in the glass where he tried to grab hold of something.
Yeah.
Then I guess he caught hold of that first coat and pulled it down with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he stumbled and bumped up against this coat bag. Fell through that and up against the safe.
How many times was he hit?
6 empty casings on the floor. Looks like 4 through-and-through wounds.
32, huh?
That's right. The wife know if anything's missing?
Yeah, she's in pretty bad shape.
It looks to me like somebody took his wristwatch and a ring from his left hand. If he had a billfold, that's gone. No coat. All the trouser pockets are turned inside out.
And what about that wine bottle?
It's smeared. Can't lift a thing.
Okay, thanks. Ben?
Still on the phone.
Okay.
No. License 15 Boston. 6707. No, 707. Yeah. Driver might be on. Hang on a minute, Wallace. What? Now, give that to DMV, will you? Save another call.
Miss Crabber, did your husband have a wallet?
Yes, brown alligator.
Did he keep his identification in it?
Yes.
Did he carry much cash?
No, just a few dollars. He was always afraid of holdups.
Thank you. You want to give that to him, Ben?
Yeah, okay. Hey, Wallace, suspect might have a brown alligator wallet with identification cards of Albert Kreiber. Yeah, that's C-R-I-B, Boston, B, Boston, New York. 3412 Northwestern Avenue. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, bye.
Hello? Mark's over here.
Yeah, Monk?
Invoice from a Far North Fur Company. 3 mink coats delivered here today. I looked all around. I only found 2. 1 missing.
Did you find the sales slip for the other one?
No.
Miss Kreiber, would you come over here, please?
Yes.
Where are they, Mom?
Over here.
All right. Hold it this way. These are mink coats here, aren't they?
Yes. It's wild mink. Albert told me he ordered them.
Yes, ma'am. We found the invoice.
He ordered 3. There are only 2 here.
Do you know anything about any of his customers?
No, I don't. I never met any of them. Oh, I remember now. Just the night before last, he called someone from home. Told her he had some minks in today and she could come in and look them over.
Do you know who that was?
Why, I didn't hear any name.
Miss Schreiber, do you have any idea who might have wanted to shoot your husband?
No, none at all. He was friendly with everyone. Everybody liked Albert. He didn't run around. He was either working or at home.
Did he drink?
Not at all.
No, I mean beer, a little wine maybe?
No, he never touched anything.
All right, thank you. Brennan, do you see that Miss Schreiber gets to her nephew?
Right away.
Thank you. Might as well go, Ben.
Yeah.
We can talk to some of the neighbors.
6 shots fired. Wonder why nobody heard him.
Pretty heavy traffic outside, huh?
Somebody wanted a mink coat pretty bad. Coat like that costs quite a bit, doesn't it?
This one's going to come a little high.
Yeah.
7:05 p.m. Most of the stores along the street were closed, but a small shoe repair shop across the street was open, so we went over there. On the window was one word, Pete, and a picture of a shoe. Sitting in the window was a small, dark man wearing a leather apron. He was working on a pair of shoes.
Hello.
We're police officers.
I see you drive up across the street.
Are you Pete?
Sure. What happens to Mr. Kreiber? He's robbed?
No, he was killed.
No. Shot? I do not hear anything.
Have you been sitting in your window all afternoon?
Oh, most all the time. You see, I have machinery here. I advertise that way. People watch me.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember seeing anybody going into Mr. Kreiber's this afternoon?
This afternoon, the 4 man. 2, 3 long black cars.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else?
Some.
Were they women?
Officer, they are all women.
Did any of them walk out with a new fur coat?
There, all that. I do not see all of them, I guess, but I see 2.
Can you describe them?
One beautiful young girl, tall, red hair. She walked out with big package.
What time was that?
3, 4 o'clock. The second woman is about the same time. Funny thing. I do not see the bottle, but Benny from liquor store on corner tell me the second one, the blonde. She buys bottle wine.
Did he tell you what kind?
No. Reason I remember, I laugh when he tell me. I go over to Benny's for a can of beer. He tells me she buys cheap wine, walks out of Kreiber's with new fur coat. Me, I spend $5 for good wine, and my wife has no fur coat.
How old was this blonde? How was she dressed?
She's maybe 25. Young, not too young, but young. She has on slacks, gray.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a fur coat was she wearing when she came out?
Mink. Look from here like mink.
I see. Did you notice where she went?
The blonde, the gray slacks, mink coat. Yes, it turned the corner onto Lexington and she went up the street.
Did you see Mr. Kreiber's car drive away?
No, he parked in back. I don't see him come in. I don't see him come out.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Mm-hmm. Officer, that blonde, something wrong there.
How do you mean?
Well, she has got fur coat, but she drinks wrong wine. I don't understand.
Why do you say that?
$5,000 coat, 27-cent wine.
7:45 p.m. Ben and I questioned Benny Davis at the Safety Liquor Store. He remembered the blonde and said she bought a bottle of Sierra Valley Muscatel from him between 2:30 and 3 o'clock that afternoon. He'd never seen her before. We contacted communications and gave a description of the blonde to supplement the All Points Bulletin. Then we started checking Western Union offices to find out where Mrs. Kreiber's telegram had been sent from. We finally traced it to the office at Normandy and Hollywood Boulevard. The operator who sent the telegram to Mrs. Kreiber also remembered receiving the call. She told us that the person who phoned in the message was a woman. The time, 3:22 p.m. We asked her to put a tracer on it and told her we'd check back. 8:24 p.m. Ben and I went to 10113 Normandy to talk to Miss Terry Shepard, whose name had appeared in the customer files at the first store. The receipt showed she had taken a coat out of storage that afternoon.
This is something like the place the wife and I used to live in.
Yeah?
Same people must have built it. Apartment 3. Miss Terry Shepard.
Hi, come in. The door's open. Find yourself a secret. I'll be in a minute.
Police officers, Miss Shepard.
Oh? What's wrong?
We'd like to talk to you.
What about?
Wonder if you could come out here, please.
Well, I just got out of the shower. You'll have to wait a minute.
Yeah? Well, this place has got the same floor plan as mine, too.
Kind of small, isn't it?
Not too bad. Wonder what rent she paid.
You don't mind if I wait a few to leave my hair's wet.
It's all right. We're sorry to bother you.
What can I do for you?
You got a fur coat, Miss Shepard?
Yeah, sure.
Wonder if we could see it, please.
Sure, but I don't think it'll trouble you. It's only muskrat. I bought it in Pittsburgh.
Where is it, in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's down the hallway, first door on the right.
I think I know where it is.
What's this all about, Lieutenant?
What time were you at the Western Fur Shop today?
Oh, I'd say 3 o'clock. Why?
What'd you do while you were down there?
I got my coat out of hock. I had it there during the warm weather. Paid the man, signed something, and he put the coat in the box, and I took it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Mr. Kreiber down there, the man that owns the store?
You got me. The man was about 50. His hair was a little gray. I hardly even looked at him.
This is the only fur coat, Joe.
Could have passed for mink when I first bought it. Pretty sad now, isn't it?
Not mink. I'll give that closet a last check.
Yeah.
What happened? Did somebody steal a coat?
Was anybody else in the store while you were there?
Yeah. Yeah, there was another girl there.
What was she doing?
Nothing, just sitting.
Do you remember how she was dressed?
Oh, she was wearing a gray suit, slacks, blonde. Her face wasn't much, but she had a neat little figure.
Do you remember anything else about her?
Oh, I didn't pay that much attention.
Anything else in there, Ben?
Not a thing, Joe.
Maybe I'd better take this towel off my head. It doesn't look so hot when it's wet, but it's natural. It's natural red.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you might be able to tell us?
I think that's about all. I gave the man my claim check and the money. And he got the coat and put it in a box and gave me a receipt.
Mm-hmm. Nothing else?
No. No, when I got the receipt, I saw the blonde walk over and pick up the telephone. I was just leaving then.
Did you hear any of the conversation?
She asked for Western Union.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Edith Gwynn, well-known Los Angeles columnist. This is her actual signed statement.
It's my job to keep up with what's going on around town. And here's one thing I've noticed lately. More and more people smoking Fatima. You certainly can tell why once you smoke them. I found them milder than any other king-size cigarette. And that's important to me. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Sunday, November 24th, 9 a.m. Ben and I contacted the owners of all the shops in the vicinity, but none of them saw or heard anything at the time of the shooting. Officers Brennan and Moncrief interviewed all the regular customers of Albert Kreiber's fur shop. Only 3 had been in the store on Saturday, but none of them had noticed anything wrong. 11:35 a.m. We spoke to Mrs. Kreiber again, but she could add nothing to her story. Her niece and nephew had been to a football game at the Coliseum in the afternoon and knew nothing had happened until they were telephoned by Officer Brennan. 2:55 p.m. We spoke to all the tenants of the apartment house at 5513 Lexington, which is in the rear of the fur shop. None of them had been home, but the owner told us that he had some men working on the roof of the apartment house at the time of the murder. Through the owner of the Durable Roof Company, we traced the two men who had been working on the roof, and they told us that about 4 o'clock they had seen a blonde dressed in gray slacks enter the parking space in the rear of Kreiber's fur store. They whistled at her, but she paid no attention to them. She got into an Oldsmobile and drove east on Lexington. 7 p.m. We checked in at the office and got word that Albert Kreiber's car had been located in the parking lot at Vermont and 8th. We drove down to the location and talked to the parking lot attendant.
Well, the car must have come in sometime last night. It probably came in the back way because I don't remember it coming in, and it doesn't have our lot tag on it. Did you work all last night? No, I finished at midnight and started at 10 this morning. I kept waiting for somebody to claim this thing, and after supper I figured it might be stolen, so I phoned the police. It's been sitting here all that time.
Are there any keys in it?
No, sir, there weren't last night either.
Have you ever seen this particular car before?
No, sir. Have you ever seen a blonde woman about 25 wearing gray slacks? You mean hanging around here?
Yeah, or in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but not today or yesterday. You remember one? Well, yes, sir. Does she drink a lot?
Maybe.
Well, there's one that hangs out in these bars around here. Once in a while, she comes in the lot, but not lately.
When did you see her last?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago. Was she with anyone? Yeah, but I don't remember him. I've seen her with a lot of different guys.
Does she hang around with anybody in particular?
Yeah, her husband.
Before leaving the parking lot, we pulled the rotor out of the distributor so that nobody could drive the car away. 8:12 p.m. We called homicide and asked for more men to canvass the bars in the neighborhood. Ben and I staked out on the car. We sat in our car across the street from the parking lot until midnight. Nobody showed up to claim the car. The streets were almost empty. Our only chance was that the blonde lived in the neighborhood or was in a bar and would sooner or later try to claim the car. 1:53 a.m.
What rent do you suppose that Shepherd girl paid?
You got me.
75?
I don't know.
I bet I pay more than she does.
Is that Moncrief?
Yeah.
Hi, Monk.
Hi. Take a look up the street. See that couple?
Where?
Coming this way. Blonde, gray slacks, fur coat. Just pretty drunk.
Where'd you spot her?
Turned the corner from Olympic. They've been looking in parking lots.
Monk, there's a rear entrance to this lot off the alley. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
Thank you. You see him all right?
That's it. Where'd they walk under that light?
Yeah.
Pretty drunk.
Looks like the same kind of coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're stopping.
Looking for another parking lot, I guess. Sierra Valley wine. World's finest muscatel.
And going into the parking lot.
She's not carrying a purse.
Those coats don't have pockets big enough for a .32 automatic.
That stuff sure gets people.
All right, let's go. We're getting in Kreiber's car.
Look, we can't even find the door. She's helping us.
You take the other side of the car, will you?
Yeah.
Stop pushing me.
Who are you?
Police officers. Can I see your driver's license, please?
I ain't got a driver's license.
What's going on?
What's your name?
Betty Moore. What's it to you?
The registration slip on the steering column says Albert Kreiber.
What's the matter with this car, anyway?
Who's Albert Kreiber?
Oh, I know who he is.
This guy here.
Who's this man?
What's that?
He's a friend. That satisfy you?
Look.
What do you want him there for?
Let me have those keys.
Hey,
Here you are, Ben.
How about going home?
there's nothing in there.
Let's go.
Here's a purse.
Give me that.
And keep your hands on the wheel.
Gun, .32.
His. It's empty anyway. There's nothing wrong in that.
Do you have a permit to carry it?
Yeah, I got a permit.
Can I see it?
I lost it. Give me those keys.
Keep your hands on that wheel.
Here's a wallet, identification cards, Albert Kreiber.
Where'd you get these?
I don't know.
The man's watch, Albert Kreiber, engraved on the back.
Who's Albert
I
Kreiber?
don't know, I told you.
All right, let's get out of the car.
Hey, let me push it.
Why didn't that car start?
All right, come on. Stand up. You get over there.
Where'd you get the fur coat?
I bought it.
Where?
I don't know.
Joe, look at her slacks.
Wine stains. I spilled wine on them.
What kind of wine?
Muscatel.
Muscatel isn't a red wine, it's a white wine.
Who's Albert Kreiber?
I don't know.
This is his wallet. This is his car. Where'd you get him?
I don't know. I don't know.
This the gun you shot him with? This the gun you shot him with?
I was going out with him. He said he'd give me a fur coat. He promised me a watch, and he never gave me one. And then we sent a telegram to his wife and everything. He gave me a fur coat and take me out. He backed out on me.
So you shot him?
Sure I did. He promised me the coat. He said I could have any coat in the shop. He promised me.
What are you crying for? You got the coat.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 27th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Betty Moore was tried and convicted of second-degree murder and received sentence as prescribed by law. She is now serving her term in the state penitentiary at Tehachapi. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, hear Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has disappeared, taken from her home by a man posing as a police officer. Your job, find her.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 10 minutes past 6 p.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. Carpool.
Over here, Joe.
All right. Thad Brown will be down in a minute. Captain will follow us out later.
Okay. No contact yet?
No, he's still waiting. You take care of the local broadcast?
Already gone out. They'll put the descriptions on the air every hour. How's it look to you now?
I don't know. Nothing more we can do to make a contact. Oh, here's Thad Brown now. You want to squeeze over a little?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, Chief.
Hi. Let's go.
Might as well take Beverly Boulevard, huh, Ben?
It's as fast as any.
You got the address there, Friday?
Yeah, it's 617 Paris Avenue, out by Echo Park.
Who's covering the house now?
Ross and Pacelli are staked out in a private garage across the street from the house. Donahoe and Wiseman are on duty inside the Kessel place. You want to smoke?
Thanks.
Light me one, will you, Joe?
Yeah.
But you got the story from the maid at the Kessel's house, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You check it out?
I'm pretty sure she's telling it straight. If anything's wrong, I don't think she's got a hand in it. Hang on, Ben.
Oh, thanks.
You got the call about 3 this afternoon?
Mm-hmm. A few minutes after, we went right out and talked to the maid.
How'd she tell it?
She said she was fixing dinner about 2 this afternoon when the doorbell rang. She answered it, and a young man in a gray suit asked for Mrs. Kessel by name. He told the maid it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Well, the maid said Mrs. Kessel came to the door, and the man identified himself as a police officer. Told Mrs. Kessel her husband had been hurt in an accident, and she was to come right away.
Man show his identification?
Maid said no. Said Mrs. Kessel just took it for granted he was a cop.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Miss Kessel got her coat and left with the man. About an hour later, her husband, Professor Kessel, got home. He wasn't hurt. He hadn't been in an accident, and he hadn't seen his wife.
As soon as he heard from the maid what had happened, he got on the phone and called her.
What's the background of the husband, this Professor Kessel?
He's supposed to have quite a name. He's a professor of philosophy out at Simmons College. That's a small school out near Glendale.
Oh, yeah.
Devout man, president of one of the local synagogues.
Sure about the maid's story, huh?
Sure as we can be. She gave us a good description of the man who picked up Miss Kessel. I got it right here. Yeah. Here.
White male, American, 25 to 30 years old, 6 feet 170 to 80 pounds, gray suit, gray hat, brown shoes. How about the car he used?
Late model Chevrolet, dark blue, white sidewalls. That's all the maid could tell us. She didn't notice the license.
You better cut over on West Lake. That'll take us past the detour, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
This Professor Kessel, has he been told what to do?
Yeah, he's been briefed. We've had a couple of men with him since this thing broke. He's taking it pretty hard.
How old a man is he?
Oh, his late 30s, wouldn't you say so, Ben?
Pretty close to 40. Nice fellow. It's quiet.
2 kids in the family, just about school age, boy and a girl.
This next one ought to be Paris Avenue. Yeah. There's a big gray house down there, Skipper. White trim.
Don't park too close to the house.
So to do it right here, don't you think?
Yeah.
What time you got?
It's 6:15. Almost dark.
Where's the garage our men are covering from?
Can you see beyond that light pole there, the white stucco place?
Oh, yeah.
Next one here's a Kessel home.
Doesn't look very rich.
Neither do the Kessels. I don't think they got much money. Hi, Donahoe.
Come in. That the husband? Yeah, I just got a phone call a couple of minutes ago. I listened on the extension.
Who called?
Tried to trace it. The guy wouldn't stay on the line long enough.
What'd you say?
Tell the cops to stay away. Said it twice. Tell the cops to stay away.
Yeah?
Said if they don't, I'll kill her.
The Kessel house had already been placed under strict surveillance, and the victim's husband instructed not to contact the abductors without knowledge of the police. To the working detective, there's only one rule to go by when the job of solving an abduction is put in his hands. Find the victim as fast as possible, get the victim to safety, then go after the criminal. It's not an easy job. The responsibility isn't light, and the outcome isn't always successful. If you press too hard, the abductor gets frightened and kills the victim. If you don't press hard enough, the criminal has more time to work for his payoff and then escape. Somewhere between the two was the right answer. We had to find it. 6:30 p.m. Special details of men were ordered out to the bus depots, the railroad terminals, and the airports. Roadblocks were set up at all main arteries leading into and out of the city. Every branch post office in Los Angeles was covered to watch for possible ransom notes addressed to Professor Kessel. 6:40 p.m. We met in the Kessel's living room.
Chief, Wiseman. Professor Kessel will be down in a minute. Says he's sorry to keep you waiting.
You feeling any better?
A little. Phone call about his wife shook him up a bit.
Well, how about those people who came in a few minutes ago? Who are they?
Relatives. Half a dozen of them. They're waiting back in the kitchen.
Well, how'd they know about Mrs. Kessel?
They didn't. They'd been invited to dinner. They didn't know anything was wrong till they got here.
Mm-hmm.
Kessel asked him to stay for the meal. Wants to keep up appearances for the sake of his kids. Doesn't want them to worry about their mother.
The dinner that important to him?
Tonight's the start of the Pesach, the Jewish religion, Passover.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the big holidays.
Oh, I see. Well, they started off with this dinner tonight, is that the way?
Yeah, big dinner. They call them Seders. Tonight they have the first Seder.
Good evening. Sorry to keep you waiting.
How are you?
No, please sit down.
We don't like to intrude on your privacy, Professor Kessel, but I think you can see it's necessary.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm very grateful. If there's anything at all I can do to help.
Do you have any idea who might be responsible for abducting your wife?
That's what has me so confused.
How do you mean, sir?
Well, I'm sure I have people who don't like me, who don't like us, but someone who would take my wife who says they'll kill her? No, I don't know who it could be.
How about the voice on the telephone, Professor? Did you recognize it at all?
No, it didn't sound like anyone I knew. He talked so fast I could hardly understand the man.
Do you think the person who took your wife has some other motive besides holding her for ransom?
I can't understand that either. If it's money they want, why go after a teacher's wife? $1,500 in the bank, that's all I have. That and this house.
How about your immediate family, Professor?
Well, my wife, Ruth, her people have quite a bit. I guess you would call them rich. But it's their money, not mine. I can't understand why anyone would do it. For Ruth, anything happened. Children.
Albert?
I'm sorry.
It's all right, we understand.
Albert?
Yes, Bertha, come in, would you, please? Gentlemen, this is my sister, Bertha. She's here with her husband for the Seder.
How are you?
Albert, it's late. Sundown. It's time to start the Kiddush.
Oh, yes. All right, Bertha. You tell everyone to come to the table. I'll be right in.
The officers will have the first Seder with them?
Yes, Bertha. You please set them places.
Yes, Albert.
Say, we don't mean to intrude here. We can wait outside while you have your dinner.
Oh, no, please. I'd be honored to have you sit at the table with us. No one in the house should be without food tonight. First Seder for Passover. It's the law.
How's that, sir?
Oh, excuse me. The Hebrew law. Would you come this way, please?
Yes, Professor.
He turned and led us down the hallway into the dining room. A long white cloth covered the table. In the center was a brightly polished brass candelabra holding 4 lighted tapers. There were a few platters of food already set out, and at the head of the table, where Professor Kessel stood, an open prayer book. In order not to add to the alarm of his 2 small children at the absence of their mother, Professor Kessel introduced us as friends from Simmons College.
This is Mr. Brown, Mr. Friday, Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Romero.
How do you do, Victor?
Of course. Now, sit down, please, sit down.
Yeah, sure smells good.
Yeah. You got enough room there, Joe?
Oh, fine. Hey, how's it work, Wiseman? Should we join in the prayers?
Not unless you speak Hebrew.
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, bo'erei pri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bocha banu mikol am, v'raimemanu mikol loshain v'kedishanu b'mitzvosav. V'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu, v'avo moyadim l'simcha, v'agim uzmanim l'sasoin es yoim hagamatzos hazeh.
Yeah, telephone call.
All right. Friday talking.
This is Lacey, Joe. Just got a call from the morgue.
Yeah?
They brought in the body a few minutes ago. They checked the description.
Yeah?
They think it's Mrs. Kessel.
I went back into the dining room and told Chief Brown about the call. He told Professor Kessel. He said he'd finish as quickly as possible so not to alarm the children and then go with us to the morgue to check the identity of the body. The prayers continued along with the dinner.
John?
Yes, Papa. Manishtono halalo aseh, mikol halelos, shebachol halelos anu ochlin, chame tumatzah, halalo aseh. Too low, Matzah.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Sure, you're cold.
Excuse me.
What I said. Papa?
What was it, Wiseman? What was the boy saying?
It's part of the ceremony during the meal. He's supposed to ask his father certain questions about the Passover, and then the father answers him. I guess it was too much for Kessel.
Who broke him up? What'd the boy ask him?
Why is this night different from any other night?
$7:30 p.m. Sergeants Wiseman and Donahoe stayed on duty at the house while Chief Brown, Ben, and I drove Professor Kessel to the county morgue. On the way, we called in and checked with Captain Steed of Homicide. He told us there'd been no reports on Mrs. Kessel. 7:43 p.m. Ben and I took Kessel to the basement of the Hall of Justice, county morgue. This way, Professor.
Oh, yes.
You sure you feel up to it?
Thank you. I'll be all right. Cold in here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, fellas. It's back here.
Okay, Archie. This is Professor Kessel, Archie.
How do you do?
This way.
Jane Doe, number 5. I called over as soon as I brought it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Found the body near Avenue 19, the riverbed across from the auto camp.
No identification?
No. Here we are.
All right. Professor.
Thank God. Thank God.
Professor?
No, it's not my wife.
It seemed as if both the victim and whoever had taken her had vanished completely. At 11:30, Captain Steed, Ben, and I went across the street for a cup of coffee and a fried egg sandwich. We got back to the office at 10 minutes to midnight. Still no word. At 2 a.m., Ben and I drove back to the Kessel house to relieve Donahoe and Wiseman. We stood our watch in the living room. In the bedroom directly above, we could hear Professor Kessel pacing the floor most of the night. At 5 a.m., Captain Steed called. He told us a letter addressed to the professor had been reported at the Arcade Post Office. As soon as the outside of the envelope had been photographed and checked for prints, it would be brought out for Professor Kessel to open.
Front door?
Yeah, I'll get it. Chief?
Morning.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Joe.
In here. Did you lift anything off the envelope, Lee?
Nothing we can use, no. Might have them all up with the letter.
Good morning. You brought the letter?
It's right here, Professor Kessel. I'd like you to stand by while we open it. This is Lieutenant Jones from our crime lab.
Lieutenant?
You'll check the note for fingerprints.
Oh, yes. I can get you a letter opener. I think this one over here.
Yeah, that's all right. I could use my pocket knife. You want to grab one corner of the paper, Bannon? Just the tip of the corner. Use your fingernail.
Okay.
And have to open it and pin down these corners here.
What is it, Frank?
The words are put together with small printed letters. They all seem to be the same kind of typeface.
Letters were probably clipped from a book, then pasted together to form these words.
Who sent it? What does it say?
Thanks, Lee. If you want to see your wife alive, have 30,000 small bills tonight. Tell police I kill her. Instructions follow in mail.
No signature. 30,000. I haven't got the money. I can't get it. He'll kill her.
Mr. Kessel, there's still a chance.
But what can I do? I haven't got that much money. He says he'll kill her. What can we do?
What we've been doing?
Yes?
Wait.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima,
I agree, says Lee Silva, news reporter.
I agree, says Jean Matson, airline stewardess.
I agree, says Mike Charters, attorney at law.
I agree, says Bab Beckwith, fashion stylist.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Wednesday, 7 a.m. With the aid of an iodine fume gun, Lee Jones checked the extortion letter from Mrs. Kessel's abductor for fingerprints and other marks of identification. He found nothing. The piece of paper on which the cutout printed letters had been pasted was of a common variety sold in most stationery and 5 and 10 cent stores. Jones photographed both sides of the envelope and the letter. 11 a.m. Still no word. None of the special details had anything to report. At 1:45 p.m., another letter was delivered to the house. The envelope was open, the letter removed carefully and pinned down at the corners.
Put together the same as the last one.
Tonight, 11 o'clock. Come alone, your car. Tell police I kill her.
Is there more, Friday?
Yeah. Drive, corner, Lakeshore, Charter Street. Wrap money, brown paper. Small bills. Come alone, your car. Put package by fireplug, then leave. Tell police and I kill her. No signature.
I haven't got the money.
Lakeshore and Charter. That shouldn't be too hard for us to catch. Sounds pretty much like an amateur.
It makes it touchy. If he's green, he'll scare easy.
If he's scared, he may kill her.
Not if we reach him.
How can I get the money?
He won't need any. We'll have a dummy package made up. There'll be a $1 bill inside. Must be newspapers cut to the size of currency. That's what you'll deliver.
But when he gets the package, when he finds out it's not the money, what's he going to think?
We'll explain it to him. Starting at 10 o'clock that night, more than a dozen cars from the Detective Bureau circled the area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street, keeping a distance ranging from 3/4 to a full mile away so as not to scare off the abductor. Some of the cars were parked in service stations, some in private driveways. The neighborhood was located in the heart of a new veterans housing project. For a full 5 blocks in either direction, there were no buildings of any kind where we could keep an eye on the package of fake ransom money. The owner of one of the completed houses nearest the spot on Charter Street was contacted, and he agreed to let us use his home as a lookout point for the stakeout that night. 9 p.m. Ben and I took up our positions on the roof of the lookout house. We were equipped with 2 pair of night binoculars and a walkie-talkie.
I could think of a few other places I'd rather spend the night.
How well can you see that intersection from here?
Comes in fine with these binoculars. The guy shows we ought to see him.
Yeah, I better check with the captain again. What time you got?
9:25. Where's the skipper parked?
Private driveway near Charter and Hayworth. Friday to 105K. Friday to 105K. Come in.
Yeah, Joe. Go ahead.
Got a clear view of the intersection. Nothing yet outside of cramped legs. You reading me okay?
Yeah, Joe. Fine. Over.
Roger. Standing by.
You're lucky my kid can't see me now.
Why?
He'd never understand. Why should his father be sitting on top of somebody's roof late at night? He'd never get it.
We waited. 10 o'clock came, 10:30. At exactly 11 p.m., as we watched through our night binoculars, we saw Professor Kessel drive up to the designated location 5 blocks away, place the fake package of ransom money by the fire hydrant near the intersection, and then drive away. 11:30. We waited. Midnight. 2 a.m. Nothing happened. The package was still lying by the fire hydrant, undisturbed. Captain Steed checked with us periodically on the walkie-talkie. At 3:30 a.m., we were still waiting. At a few minutes past 6 a.m., Professor Kessel was directed to return to the intersection, pick up the package, and drive back to his home. His wife's abductor had failed to show. Maybe the suspect had sensed a trap. Maybe he had no idea of showing up in the first place. Maybe Mrs. Kessel was dead. We didn't know. 10 a.m., Thursday. No further contact from the abductor. A special detail from Homicide, including Ben and I, were ordered on a door-to-door canvass of the general area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street. After 7 hours of ringing doorbells and asking questions, we came across a Mr. Harold Olander, one of the longtime residents of the Silver Lake area. We showed him the general description of Mrs. Kessel's abductor.
Yeah, that could be Thompson. Don't know for sure, though.
Where did you see this Thompson, Mr. Olander?
Oh, I saw him lots of times. He rents that cottage of mine down the street there. You see, the white one?
Mm-hmm. Does this Thompson have a car?
Thompson? Yeah, new one.
I wonder if you could describe it.
Chevrolet, nice looking, blue color, I think.
Could be, Joe.
Is Thompson in the house now, Mr. Olander?
Nope. Saw him drive away early this morning. I can show you the house if it's official police business.
It is.
Well, come on, then. I got the key right here. Cottage just down the block there. See the one I mean? The white one?
Yes, sir. How long's Thompson been in the house?
2 weeks tomorrow.
You noticed anything unusual about him?
Nothing special. Comes and goes at odd hours. Then a lot of people do. I don't brag. It's this house right there.
Does he usually keep all the blinds drawn?
Yeah, now that you mention it. A lot of people do, I guess.
You want to check back in the kitchen, Ben?
Yeah, right.
And look at the living room, Sergeant.
Yeah.
On a stick of furniture. That's funny.
You sure you didn't see anybody else in this house besides Thompson?
No, he's the only one.
Looks like it, Joe. Found this woman's purse stuffed in one of the kitchen cabinets. This sales slip was in the purse.
Let's see. This is Albert Kessel. Is there a phone here, Mr. Olander?
Out in the hall.
All right.
Is it still connected?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll check back in the bedrooms while you're phoning.
Right, Ben. No, you better stay with me, Mr. Olander, if you will.
All right.
City Hall.
Homicide.
Homicide?
You any idea where this Thompson is now, Mr. Olander?
No, he comes and goes. I don't like to pry.
Homicide, Steve.
This Friday, Skipper, we got one for you.
I've got one for you. Mrs. Kessel, she's been found.
Mrs. Kessel was unharmed. She had no idea where she had been or why she had been suddenly released. All additional information which she could furnish on the suspect was immediately relayed to the entire state in an APB. 2 hours later, at a neighborhood garage Thompson patronized, we got his license number. We ran it through DMV and found the car was registered in the name of Charles Cottrell, 10115 Green Oak Drive, 7 p.m.
Yes,
Police officers. Is Charles Cottrell here?
yes. Come in, please. I knew you'd find him. I kept hoping, but I knew you'd find him.
Where is he, ma'am?
He'll give himself up. I'm his wife. I talked to him. There won't be any trouble. No trouble.
Where is he?
You've got to understand, he didn't know what he was doing. We needed money. He didn't know what he was doing.
We'll have to search the house, ma'am.
Charlie! Charlie, come downstairs! Come down!
Get your hands behind your head.
I don't have a gun.
All right, Ben.
Behind your back.
Tell them, Charlie. You didn't know what you were doing. Tell them.
We needed the money. I thought it'd work. What'd I do wrong?
Come on.
Should have worked. I planned it all out. Where'd I make a mistake?
When you thought of it.
The story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Charles Cottrell was tried and convicted of kidnapping and received the sentence as prescribed by law. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, here's Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
Actor and producer Jack Webb's aim in Dragnet were for realism and unpretentious acting. He achieved both goals, and Dragnet remains a key influence on subsequent police dramas in many media. The show's cultural impact is demonstrated by the fact that even after 5 decades, elements of Dragnet are known to those who have never heard nor seen the program. The ominous 4-note introduction to the brass and timpani theme music titled Danger Ahead is instantly recognizable, as well as the show's opening narration. Stay tuned for more Dragnet right here on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to hit-and-run felony detail. A dead body is found in the streets in the early hours of the morning. There's only one clue, a set of skid marks on the pavement. Your job, find the killer.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 19th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of traffic division. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Lieutenant Calfee, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 7:55 a.m. when I got to the second floor at 123 South Figueroa Street. Accident investigation. Hit and run felony detail.
Hit and run felony. Morning, Joe.
George?
Yeah. How is it?
Oh, it's not much better. Still aching.
Rough.
A lousy thing kept me up most of the night.
Check with that dentist I told you about?
Yeah, I did. Says it's a wisdom tooth. This one here.
Oh, yeah.
Says it's got to come out. I'm supposed to go back and see him today.
That's rough. Remember, a friend of mine had his wisdom teeth out. Hurt like the devil. Terrible. Finally pulled them. Ached for 5-6 days after.
Roger.
Oh, excuse me, Joe. Yeah, McKee.
Better have a 15-7 on that follow-up you handed yesterday, huh?
Okay. I got most of it down. I'll finish it up. Friday?
Hi. Ben come in yet?
He's down in the record bureau. I'll see that jaw of yours. Hasn't gone down much.
It's a bad wisdom tooth. Dentist says he's going to have to yank it.
Bum deal, eh?
That's the first time I ever had any trouble with him.
I remember a few years back my sister Gertrude had trouble with a wisdom tooth in Pacton.
Yeah?
Whole side of her face was swollen. Poor kid was in terrible pain, full week. Even after they pulled it still hurt.
All right, Joe.
All right.
Picked up the overnight reports down at Records, Mac. Here.
Oh, thanks, Ben. This one on top here. I'd like to have you two check it out.
Dead body report.
Yeah. They left me a note on it. That's about all. Hard to figure.
What's the story?
Just what you see in the report.
The victims, Edward Raymond Stokes, 732 Delano Street, apartment 2.
His body was found in the gutter near 63rd and Vermont, 3 o'clock this morning. No witnesses. Only one piece of evidence.
Yeah, see, they got it listed here. Skid marks near the body. Is that all?
That's it. Apparent hit and run.
Where's the body, man?
Neighborhood mortuary out there. Emerald Hills Funeral Home. One of the deputy coroners handled the body. A fellow named Joe Larimore.
Anybody claim it yet?
No.
Okay. Ben, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We'll check you later, man.
Yeah. If you need any help, I've got McClendon and Rogers on hand.
Right.
How do we manage to draw all the choice ones?
I don't know.
Skid marks and a dead body. Yeah. Oh, say, I almost forgot. How's your jaw?
It still hurts.
Oh, it's tough. And still swollen.
Mm-hmm.
What did Dennis say?
Wisdom tooth.
Oh, miserable.
Yeah.
Wife had the same thing a couple of years back. Dennis tried to yank the tooth and it broke right in two. Finally got it out.
That's good.
Funny thing about wisdom teeth.
What's that?
After they pull them. Hurts for 5 or 6 days.
8:33 a.m. Ben and I drove out to 63rd and Vermont and rechecked the spot where the dead body of Edward Stokes had been found. According to the report, the body was found 2 feet west of the easterly curb and 32 north of 63rd Street on Vermont. We examined the skid marks. They showed definite signs of being a lot older than 24 hours. The consistency of the rubber was weak, and there were heavy dirt smudges over them, indicating more wear than they could have possibly had since the estimated time of the victim's death. We got back in the car and drove to the Emerald Hills Funeral Home at Vernon and Denver Avenue.
Sure is rotten weather for April, huh?
Yeah.
These funeral homes, you ever notice it?
What's that?
Why do they always put awnings over the windows? Never open drapes.
I don't know. Come on. Funeral going on. You know where the office is?
There's a brass plate on that door over there.
Let's have a look.
Yes, sir.
Here's somebody, Joe.
Oh.
Gentlemen, may I be of service?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to Mr. Larimore. I believe he's a deputy coroner.
I'm Mr. Larimore. You came about the hit-and-run victim?
Yeah, that's right. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. We'd like to check the body if we could.
Certainly. It's back this way.
Understands you moved the body from the scene of the accident here to the mortuary.
Yes, that's right. Early this morning. Unusual case. Careful, there's 2 steps down just inside the door.
Thank you. Why do you say it's unusual, Mr. Larimore?
Well, here, let me show you. There. Now, for one thing, the victim had a basal skull fracture. I don't know about you gentlemen, but in the hit-and-run cases I've handled, a basal fracture is a pretty rare thing.
Well, it is possible, isn't it?
Yes, it's possible. Anything's possible, as they say. But it's not usual. A few other things here, too.
Yeah.
Notice the victim's knee here. Single clean cut. Also, these wounds on the head. I've never seen anything like it in hit-and-run cases I've been called in.
Yeah, that wound on the knee doesn't jibe, does it? If he was hit by a car, the knee should be skinned up quite a bit.
Exactly. Well, you know how it usually is. The automobile hits the victim. There's always signs that the body was either dragged or thrown. Shredding of clothing, skinned knees, legs, elbows. No sign of that here.
You don't think the victim could have been killed by hit-and-run cars, eh?
No, I don't say that. It's possible that it might have been a car, but, well, let's say it's not very probable.
Has anybody at all inquired about the body, Mr. Larimore?
No one, no.
That's funny.
Oh, Mr. Larimore, may I see you a minute, please? All right, now. Excuse me a moment?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. Where do we start?
I don't know. Maybe we won't have to. Another lead like this, we can turn it over to homicide.
Sergeant?
Yeah?
There's a young lady in the lobby.
Yeah.
She wants to claim the body.
The girl was shown the body. She identified it as that of Edward Raymond Stokes. She gave her name as Marion Fuller, the victim's common-law wife. After she recovered from her shock, she asked if she might sit down for a while and rest. We took her into one of the offices in the mortuary, and Ben got her a glass of water. She told us that she had last seen Stokes alive at about 1 a.m. that morning. They'd been drinking together at a neighborhood bar on Vermont Avenue between 63rd and 64th Streets, half a block from where the victim's body had been found sprawled in the gutter. Why don't you sit down over there, Miss Fuller?
Thanks.
How long did you know Edward Stokes, Miss Fuller?
About 6 years. On and off. We've been together pretty much the last couple of years, though. No, my dad.
Would you mind telling us exactly what happened while you were with Stokes last night? Everything you can remember?
I can't think. This headache's killing me.
Well, we should try, Miss Fuller. It's important.
Well, Eddie and I had dinner together at the Spanish Oven, place down on South Fig. That was about 7:45. Then we drove out to the Brown Barrel in Vermont, the bar I told you about.
Yeah.
Eddie and I go there most of the time. We stayed there and drank, played a little shuffleboard. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we stayed too long. Drank a little too much. I started talking to this fella next to me, and he got sore. Always got jealous when he was drunk. Poor Eddie.
Did Eddie fight with this other man, Miss Fuller?
No, I stopped him. That made Eddie mad. He never could drink right. He always wanted to pick a fight.
Who was the other man, you remember?
No, I don't. I guess I had a lot to drink, too. He's just some guy at the bar. His headache.
Well, it's not going to take much longer. Just a few more questions.
That organ's getting on my nerves.
What happened after you broke up the argument between Stokes and the other man?
Oh, nothing. We stayed in the bar. Eddie played shuffleboard most of the time. I was in one of the booths drinking.
Yeah.
Around 1 o'clock, I started feeling sick, so I went outside and sat in the car. I guess I passed out there.
In your car?
No. I guess it belonged to one of the fellows in the bar. I passed out, and that's all I can remember.
Did you sleep in the car all night?
No. I guess whoever owned it drove me home.
Well, how'd they know where you lived?
Must have been one of her friends. I don't know. I don't remember anything till this morning. They phoned me up and said Eddie was dead.
Who phoned you, Miss Fuller?
One of our friends. I don't remember. I had a rotten headache.
Well, you can do better than that.
I tell you, I don't remember. They phoned and told me Eddie was dead. Somebody ran Eddie down.
All right.
Where are we going?
Downtown. We'll have a stenographer take your statement.
Oh, I've got a terrible hangover. I've never had one as bad as this.
Neither has Eddie. Let's go. On the way back to the office, Ben stopped at a drugstore, and I picked up a box of aspirin. The wisdom tooth was giving me trouble again. The clerk at the soda fountain fixed something for Marion Fuller's hangover. When we got her back to the office, we questioned her for more than an hour, but she gave us only one additional piece of information. The victim, Eddie Stokes, had been married before and divorced. His ex-wife lived out in the valley with their 2 children, and on several occasions she came to see Stokes at the Vermont Avenue bar when he failed to make the monthly payments for the support of the children. Each time they'd argued bitterly. We had a police stenographer take the forewoman's statement, and then she was released. 10:45 a.m., Sergeants Rogers and McClendon were assigned to check out the Vermont Avenue bar where Stokes had last been seen alive. Ben and I drove out to the valley to the home of Catherine Stokes, the victim's former wife. She met us on the front porch. Inside, it sounded like one of the children was practicing the piano. We told her what had happened.
Last week, I think it was. Yes, Thursday last week. Eddie hadn't sent any money for the kids' support for 3 months. I hated to chase after him like that. There wasn't anything else I could do.
Where did you meet him, Miss Stokes?
That bar he used to hang around. It's over on Vermont, called the Brown Barrel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wouldn't you like to come inside?
Yes, thank you. Do you happen to know anybody by the name of Marion Fuller?
Yes, Eddie mentioned her. What was a man seeing a woman like that?
Do you know anything about her at all?
No. Whenever I saw Eddie, he'd mention he was running around with her. Yes, he wanted to make me jealous.
Was your husband a pretty heavy drinker?
Yes, he was. So I got the divorce. Eddie was such a fine boy when we got married. Good home.
You didn't know any of the people he'd been running around with lately?
No, just the Fuller woman, that's all.
Can you think of anything at all that might possibly have a bearing on his death?
No. Eddie was probably drinking. Wandered in the street and a car hit him. I don't know. Oh, there's the bakery man. I've got to get some bread and a few things. Excuse me?
I think that's about all, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll leave our card here, Miss Stokes, in case you want to contact us for any reason.
All right. So wonderful when we were married, Eddie and I. My folks gave us this house as a wedding present. We got wonderful presents.
Yeah.
We had everything we wanted. A car, nice house, kids. It was wonderful till we started drinking. Then everything went. Job, everything. Started all of a sudden. I never knew why.
Yes, ma'am.
How do men get that way? How do they start?
I don't know. We only see a part of it.
Yeah?
When they finish. 12 noon. Ben and I drove back into town to Vermont and 63rd Street for a meet with Sergeants Rogers and McClendon. They told us that they checked out the bartender who'd been on duty the night before, and also 7 of his customers. Their stories were almost identical. Each of them remembered seeing Eddie Stokes at the bar. Each of them remembered he was playing shuffleboard, that he was drinking heavily, and that he left the bar at about 1:45 a.m. All of us had the idea that for some reason the bartender and the customers were lying. In most cases, it's hard to find 2 witnesses who tell identical stories, let alone 7. For the rest of that afternoon, Rogers, McClendon, Ben, and I spent our time canvassing the neighborhood in the vicinity of the Brown Barrel Tavern. 4:45 p.m. We talked to the proprietor of a small grocery store 2 blocks down the street from the tavern. He told us that he rarely visited the bar, but that he thought that the man who ran the butcher shop next to his place, Mr. Eugene Murray, was a regular patron of the Brown Barrel. So we went next door.
If you make that 2 pounds of ground, Mr. Murray, we're having company tonight.
Yes, ma'am. 2 pounds.
Nice looking meat, huh, Joe?
Yeah, the steaks look good, don't they?
Mm-hmm. 2 pounds. All right. Anything else now, Mrs. Gidney? Got some nice fresh kidneys today.
No, George won't touch kidneys. That'll be all. You put it on the bill, won't you, Mr. Murray?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. Can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Murray. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, sure. Glad to help out if I can.
Have you ever been in the Brown Barrel Tavern down the next block there?
Brown Barrel? I go there all the time. Say, would you mind if I fix up an order while we're talking? The customer's going to pick it up in a couple of minutes. I don't like to keep him waiting.
Sure, go ahead.
I got to go to the ice bar.
When's the last time you were in the Brown Barrel, Mr. Murray?
Last night. Wife and I went to the movie. One of them English pictures. Lousy picture. We ducked in at the barrel on the way home for a beer.
About what time was that?
Pretty close to 2. What's the matter? Some kind of trouble?
Did you notice anything unusual while you were in there? Anybody fighting or arguing?
No, we were only in there a couple of minutes, but now that you mention it, there was something funny happen.
What was that?
Well, the bartender Carl and a half dozen of the neighborhood gang were back in one of the booths talking together. They seemed kind of nervous. None of them seemed to be having a good time.
Yeah.
The wife and I yelled hello at them, but they kind of gave us a go-by. Then this drunk came up to us. Then he say, officer, would you reach that knife for me?
Which one?
That one.
Oh, yeah, here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this drunk came up to us and whispers to me, say, you better get out of here. There's been a fight. Hey, isn't that a beautiful piece of meat? Well, I didn't pay much attention to him. He was pretty drunk, could hardly understand him. I guess they have a lot of fights in there anyway.
Is that all he told you? There's been a fight?
Yeah, that time. But he came back a couple of minutes later and whispered the same thing. You better get out. There's been a fight, he said. The wife and I just laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know all about it. A guy's been murdered.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Vic Hyland, sports columnist.
I agree, says Shirley Gelman, registered nurse.
I agree, says Frank Fenton, author.
I agree, says Nancy Appel, news writer.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
6 p.m. Ben and I went back to homicide to turn the case over to them. They asked us to handle the investigation for another day because they were short of men at the moment and because there was still a big doubt as to whether or not Eddie Stokes had really been murdered. Actually, the only solid lead we had was the second-hand testimony of a drunken witness, that and the deputy coroner's doubts that Stokes was actually the victim of a hit-and-run. Mr. Murray, the butcher, didn't know the name of the man who told him that there'd been a murder, and he could give us only a meager description. We brought Marion Fuller back in and re-questioned her. She stuck to her story. She didn't remember anything. She was released again. It looked like we were in for a long night. We went across the street for a bowl of soup and a sandwich, and when we got back, Ben called his wife and told her he'd be working late. I called my mother.
Working late again? Oh, Joseph. How's your tooth feeling?
Well, it's a little better, Ma. It's still pretty tender. I'm going to go to the dentist tomorrow.
Yes, you've got to have that attended to right away. Bad teeth can poison your whole system. You be sure and see that dentist. Is he a good one?
Yeah, he's okay. One of the fellas down there told me about him. I'll see you a little later. Huh? Don't wait up.
Yes. And you don't work too late, Joseph. You need your rest.
Yeah, okay, Ma. Goodbye.
All right, Joseph. Goodbye.
Joe.
Yeah?
Just talked to that butcher's wife on the phone, Miss Murray.
What'd she have to say?
Asked her the same questions we asked Murray. She couldn't add much. Same story.
Got something for you?
Yeah, Matt?
Rogers and McClendon just called in. They're still out at that bar.
Yeah?
Finally got somebody to talk a little.
What'd they get?
The bar boy out there. He says there was a fight happened about 1:30. Doesn't remember who was fighting.
Not much help.
Bar boy's name is Milner. He told Rogers he went outside about 20 minutes to 2 to put the garbage out. He saw the Fuller woman asleep in that car.
You get the license number?
No. Said there was a ticket on the windshield.
Ben and I checked with the sergeant of the watch at 77th Street Division. He told us Unit 111 was assigned to the area where the brown barrel was located. In checking their worksheet, we found that Unit 111 had issued a hang-on citation the night before to a car parked near 6330 1/2 Vermont Avenue, the address of the Brown Barrel Tavern. We checked the license number through DMV and found that the car was registered to a William R. Huddy, 14 Naylor Street. We drove out to the Naylor Street address and talked to Huddy's wife. She told us he was playing in a shuffleboard tournament that night at a bar down on South Olive Street. 8:55 p.m. We checked in at the bar.
Bartender.
Oh, yes, sir. What'll it be?
Do you know if there's a William Huddy in here? He's supposed to be playing a shuffleboard game here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He's with the Highland Park team. Hey, let me see. Yeah, that's him up now, out on the blue shirt.
Thank you. Come on, Ben.
Yeah, that's it, Bill. Good weight. Make it another 3. That cleans him. Good one, Bill.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Beat that one, Max.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Are you William Huddy?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you a minute.
Oh? What about?
I'd like to ask you a few questions. You step over here a minute.
Yeah, all right.
Were you at the Brown Barrel Tavern out on Vermont last night?
Yeah, I was. Why, what's the matter?
You know Marion Fuller?
Yeah, she hangs around the place. She goes with a guy named Eddie.
Did you drive her home last night?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. She passed out in my car. She's a nice kid, but she drinks a lot. I drove her home.
Do you mind telling us what happened at the bar last night when you were there?
Well, I come in about 9 o'clock and I start playing shuffleboard with a couple of guys. This guy, Eddie Stokes, is one of them.
Yeah?
We got in a beef with a guy at the bar over Marion. It's nothing big, though. The guy left after a while.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
That's about all. I left the place around 1:30, and this Eddie was beefing with some merchant seaman about that time.
Was the Fuller girl still at the bar at that time?
No, when I went outside, I saw her sleeping in my car, so I drove her home. I left her off and then come back to the bar. That's when they told me.
Told you what?
Well, they said Eddie had a fight with this merchant seaman. They said it'd be better if we kept it quiet.
Who told you that?
I called the bartender. And I got the real story from one of the fellas I was playing shuffleboard with, Leo McCarty.
What did he tell you?
Well, he said that when Eddie Stokes left, the merchant seaman followed him out. He said he chased Eddie. McCarty went out about 5 minutes later.
Yeah?
Well, the merchant seaman was gone and Stokes was lying in the gutter down the street.
Mm-hmm. Did McCarty look at him?
Yeah, he said Stokes looked pretty bad. So he looked like he was dead, but I wouldn't believe that.
Why not?
This McCarty always exaggerates.
10:15 p.m. We had William Huddy come back to the office with us, where we questioned him further and took his statement. Then we had his friend Leo McCarty brought in, along with the bartender at the Brown Barrel Tavern and the customers that he'd framed his story with. McCarty was the first to give us the straight story, and then the others followed. The bartender, Carl Jansen, who also owned the bar, was the last to break.
How about it, Jansen? Why didn't we get a straight story to begin with?
What about the publicity? How would that look? A murder around my place.
Could work out worse than that, Mr. Jansen. You've been withholding evidence. You talked these people into the same deal.
I'd protect myself. The newspapers, all the scandal, wreck a man's business. I had to keep it quiet. It's not my fault that Stokes is killed. I didn't do it. I'm not to blame.
No, but you know who is to blame. Now, how about it? Who is he?
Well, he works on the ships. Comes in here most of the time when he's in port.
What's his name?
Henry Baxter. I've cashed some of his paychecks.
Ben, you better get the captain now.
Yeah.
Hit and run felony Friday. Oh, yeah. No, just a minute. For you, Jansen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Oh. Yes, Frida, just a minute. Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's my wife. She's at the bar now. She thought you ought to know.
Yeah?
Henry Baxter. Frida says he just came in.
I talked to Jansen's wife and told her to delay Baxter as long as possible without arousing his suspicions. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I and Mr. Jansen, along with Rogers and McClendon, drove out to the Brown Barrel Tavern on Vermont. When we got there, Baxter was gone. Mrs. Jansen told us he was pretty drunk by the time he left the bar. She'd watched him go down one block, cross the street, and then enter a small nightclub on the opposite side called the Pink Shamrock. She'd been keeping an eye on the place, and as far as she knew, Baxter was still inside. We went down the street to the nightclub. Rogers and McClendon covered the back entrance. We got inside in the middle of a floor show. The blonde was doing some kind of a dance.
Can you spot him, Mr. Jansen?
I don't see him yet.
How about over on this side, back in the corner there?
No, he's not there. It's so dark in here, I can't see too well.
There's the rear exit to the place. He could have slipped out that way.
Gentlemen, like to have a picture taken? Souvenir photograph?
No, thanks. Maybe we better check with the waiter, Ben.
Sergeant, just a minute. That man over there at that table.
Where?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Where?
Right there next to that pillar. He's just behind it, you see. Yeah, that's him.
All right. Come on, Ben. You stay right here, Mr. Jansen.
You bet.
Waiter. Hey, waiter. Another Coke high. You waiters? Another Coke high.
Your name Henry Baxter?
Yeah, that's right. What?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Yeah? Well, sit down.
Outside.
Outside nothing. Can't see a show.
Let's go outside. Come on, Baxter.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the beef, anyway?
You know what the beef is.
Sure, I know what the beef is.
Come on, let's go.
The lousy punk Eddie Stokes trying to give me a bad time. Now he knows what a bad time is.
Baxter, come on.
Lousy punk Stokes. I showed him how it's done.
Keep your voice down.
I slugged him. Pounded his head on the curb. He was drunk. He never knew what happened.
Come on, outside.
Hey, everybody, I killed Eddie Stokes. I killed him.
Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, okay.
How's that tooth feel, Joe?
Seems okay.
Better have the dentist yank it out first thing in the morning.
I think I'll hold off a while.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On July 30th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Henry John Baxter was tried and convicted in Superior Court of manslaughter. He received the sentence as prescribed by law and is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Sarah Berner stars in Sarah's Private Caper, next on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to a robbery detail. A holdup has been committed in a neighboring city. A bystander is shot to death. 2 others are wounded. The bandits are ruthless, well armed. Your job? Get 'em.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 6th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from Calvary Cemetery. It was 11:45 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Joe, how'd the funeral go?
Pretty good turnout.
Sure sorry I couldn't make it.
Well, one of us had to be in court.
Yeah. A lot of the boys out there, huh?
Yeah. Martin had a lot of friends. He was a good cop.
You see his wife?
Yeah.
Wife took it hard again.
Pretty hard, yeah. Are you about ready for lunch?
You better make up the logbook first, man. We're a little behind.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, Stu.
Ben, what's with you?
Oh, same old thing.
Say, what's the DR number on that job we handled yesterday? The grocery store thing? You know, we showed those mug shots to the victims. You remember the DR number on it?
Oh, yeah, I got it here. 374332.
332. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir?
My name's Frank Cheney. Just been paroled from Folsom. Can you tell me where I registered?
Yeah.
I'll get one of the men from the rehabilitation detail. He'll take care of it.
Thanks. Excuse me, Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Bossford. Johnny Bossford? Yeah. Got a minute? Something for you here. I'll be right back.
Did you contact the witnesses in this report here? Let me see. This one.
What do you got?
Oh, yeah, I took
I'll
care
over
of
at the desk once the register's next time.
Okay. Excuse me, Romero.
Yeah.
Hi, you want to register?
Yeah, my name's Frank Cheney.
Okay. Address?
218 Belgrade.
Belgrade. Where you been?
Folsom. Got out Saturday.
Okay, what'd you fall for?
Robbery, first degree.
How much do you owe?
Served 18 years. I'm on life parole.
Life parole. Okay.
Hey, Baxter, want to tell Rambo we're out for 7?
Wait a couple of minutes, huh? See the guy at the desk? The one with Bosberg?
Yeah, it's an ex-con. Why?
Frank Cheney, 1931. Jack Taylor and I had him. First big one we ever drew.
That's so.
Did you ever hear of him? Used to call him a gentleman bandit.
1931, Claude. That's 18 years ago.
Cheney was the biggest of them. Came from a wealthy family, too. Father's a millionaire.
You sent him up, huh?
San Quentin. Tried to break out with a partner. His partner killed a trustee. Cheney was sent to Folsom.
From a millionaire family. That's a queer one. Yeah. Well, how about that lunch, fellas?
Yeah, let's go. Seems like it could have been yesterday, 1931. We grow old right along with the thieves, huh?
Where we go? Federal Cafe? That's all right with me.
18 years.
Yeah.
Sure goes by in a hurry.
I wonder if Cheney thinks so. As far as day-to-day routine goes, police work is pretty much like any other job. To the rookie detective just starting in, there's new things to see, new things to learn. But 5 or 6 years on the detail and the job gets pretty ordinary. You see a lot of dirt, a lot of trouble and tragedy, and after a while you begin to wonder what all the glamour's about and the excitement that's supposed to go along with the job. The fall months went by pretty slow. On November 3rd, we closed a case against a gang of drugstore hold-up men. In December, Ben's youngster fell off a fence and sprained his wrist. My Uncle George from Renton, Washington, visited my mother and me in January. Stayed a couple of weeks. On January 28th, it rained. Ben and I checked into the office where we got a phone call from Lieutenant Mort Gear of the San Diego Police Department. He gave us additional information on a finance company holdup which had been pulled in San Diego the day before. In the robbery, one bystander had been shot and killed and another one wounded by the 2 bandits. They also shot a police officer 3 times through the stomach when he tried to stop him. Next day, Sergeants Ormsby and McGuire from San Diego arrived, and we helped them check the suspects through the stats office.
A couple of bad ones, Joe. Both have guns, and they use them.
One of them got away in a car and the other one on foot. Is that right, McGuire?
Yeah, the big one used the car.
Well, size ought to help some. Let's see, 45 years old, height 6'1" or 2 inches, weight 275 to 85 pounds. Anybody get a look at the car, Ormsby?
Blue Ford sedan, 1940 or 41 model. That's all we got.
It's a rough one.
After all the shooting, the witnesses didn't know what they saw. All mixed up.
Well, how about the other one, the guy who got away on foot?
He's a WMA, about 50 years old, 5 feet 8, 9 inches, 145, 55 pounds, wears glasses.
Yeah, we got that on the teletype. Is that all?
No, we traced from the Greyhound bus depot about 6 blocks from the holdup. Changed his clothes in the washroom there, left behind a coat and a gun.
Yeah.
The coat was the kind of give parolees from State Pen.
Mm-hmm.
Checked it through our crime lab. Same kind of suits are issued to all ex-cons. No make.
Well, at least you know one of them's an ex-con. How about that gun you found?
It's a murder weapon. Our ballistics men went over it, no prints. Tried to trace the serial number, no record. CII in Sacramento's trying to run it down.
Well, we got any hunches?
A few.
We're almost sure both of them had gone the route before. Pretty cool. Shot down 3 people, didn't bat an eye.
How much did they take in the holdup?
11,000. Hey, your stats office make a run those descriptions yet?
Yeah, this morning, R&I's got the list of possibilities. They're pulling the mud cast now. They'll be winding it up right now, don't you think? Yeah, let's check. This way, fella.
Yeah.
Go ahead, McGuire.
Oh, thanks.
How's the wife, Ormsby?
Oh, fine, Ben. She's expecting again.
What are you going to do, raise an army?
4 kids? That's not so bad. McGuire's wife wants 6.
How about that, Mac?
They're 5 now. No point in quitting when you're ahead.
Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
You know Russ Ormsby and Tony McGuire, don't you? San Diego PD?
Yeah, sure. Met him last trip.
Hi. Fine, Frank. Good to see you.
Good. Just ready to call you. Got those mug shots together for you. Here, got them right here.
Okay.
There you are. This is Dex for suspect 1. This is for number 2.
Okay, Frank. We'll check them out with the witnesses.
There's one mug there. Here, let me show you. Yeah, this one.
Yeah?
Matches the description pretty close. Safe man betrayed, but he can go any route. Name's Weber.
First name?
Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Call him Turk, I think, nickname.
Know anything about it?
He's an ex-con.
Ormsby and McGuire drove back to San Diego to show the mugshots to the hold-up witnesses and see if they could get an identification. Late the next afternoon, they called back to tell us that Stanley Turk Weber had definitely been identified from his mugshot by 4 of the 5 witnesses as one of the hold-up men. His partner remained unidentified. We called Turk Weber's parole officer, got all the available information on the suspect, including his latest address, an apartment house on North Alameda. Weber wasn't there. We talked with the apartment house manager, and he told us that Turk hadn't been seen there since the day before the San Diego robbery and murder. We had a stakeout put on the apartment. Ben and I went back to the office and had the record bureau pull Weber's package. On his mama sheet, Ben spotted a familiar name, Henry Garson, another ex-con who was listed as one of Turk Weber's closest friends. Well, we got a hold of Garson's parole officer. He told us Garson had had his parole transferred to San Diego, where he disappeared 2 weeks before he was wanted for violation of parole. We tried to check Weber through his relatives. We couldn't find any. But Henry Garson's report showed that he had a brother, Al, who ran a dry cleaning shop down in Seal Beach. He had no criminal record. The next morning, we drove down to see him.
Yeah, Henry came around last July. It's the last time I saw him. I went to borrow my car.
You got any idea where he might be now?
No.
You're his brother.
I don't know where he is. That's the truth. I don't want to know where he is.
Was anyone with him when he came to see you last?
No.
You know who his friends are?
Friends? No.
Would you look at these pictures, please, see if you can identify any of them?
All right, just...
No. These here. No. Ah. How about these? No.
No, look, can't you talk to me later? It's not good for business having cops around a shop.
Who would you yell for if a shop was held up, Mr. Garson?
What's that got to do with it?
Your brother's in trouble. We might stop him from getting in deeper.
Now, look away, man. Hello, Mrs. Renner.
Good morning, Al.
Can I help you?
No, Roger. Go ahead and wait with the gentleman.
No, that's all right. They're just waiting. Can I help you?
My husband's suit, cleaned and pressed. Can you have it by Tuesday?
Tuesday? Yeah, I'll do it.
My plaid jacket, cleaned and pressed. Can you sort this little stairs here?
Where? Yeah, we take care of that. Tuesday, all right? Hey, thanks, Mrs. Renner.
All right, Al. Bye.
Bye, Mrs. Renner. Thanks.
I don't like to hold you up, Garson. Just a few more questions.
All right.
Now, you said the last time your brother was here, he wanted to borrow your car. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you let him have it?
I let him have nothing.
How about the rest you found?
Oh, can't you let us alone? If Henry's in trouble, let him take care of it. We got troubles enough of our own.
This is important, Garson. We've got to have your cooperation.
Well, why me? Oh, Henry's no good. I admit it. He's still my brother.
Yeah?
You asked me to send him to jail?
If he belongs there, yeah.
Look, I don't want any trouble.
There won't be any.
My mother lives in Santa Barbara. Just moved there. I got the address. Henry goes to see her every once in a while.
When's the last time you saw her?
2 weeks ago. I was there, too. And something else.
What's that?
Henry had a gun.
11 a.m. Tuesday. Ben and I drove back to the office and put in a call to the Santa Barbara Police Department. We asked them to put a stakeout on the home of Henry Garson's mother and to notify us the minute Garson was apprehended. We contacted San Diego and told them what we'd found out. After that, we doubled back on Turk Weber. From one of our informants, we heard that Weber and Garson had gone into some kind of a business together. For a bankroll, they'd succeeded in getting a loan from the Second National Bank out in Glendale. 1 p.m. We drove out and checked with the manager of the bank's loan department, Mr. Peabody.
Here we are, officers. Stanley T. Weber, Henry Garson. Loan papers were signed over a month ago.
What kind of a loan was it, Peabody?
Business loan. Garson Weber came in with another man. They talked to our manager, Mr. Ascot. Excuse me.
Yeah. What business are they in?
Trucking concern. They wanted the money to buy equipment, more trucks.
How much money did they borrow?
$4,500, usual terms.
I guess you inquired into their background.
Oh, yes, their whole financial background.
Did you know that Garson and Weber are both ex-convicts?
I beg your pardon?
I said, did you know that both of them are ex-convicts?
You sure you haven't made a mistake? Henry Garson, Stanley T. Weber?
Yeah, that's right. What'd they offer for collateral?
Well, they had some of their equipment, 2 trucks, and of course, there was the cosigner.
Who was that?
The name's right here on the loan papers.
Let's see.
Right here. Cosigner, Frank Cheney.
2:30 p.m. Ben and I checked back into the office and went down the hall to R&I. We pulled a package on Frank Bertram Cheney. White, male American, 5 foot 8.5 inches, 152 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. The record read like a dime novel. Almost 20 years before, Cheney had crashed into the headlines of Pacific Coast newspapers as the gentleman bandit. Maybe some of the news stories were exaggerated, but the record showed that he actually owned a yacht, 3 expensive cars, an apartment house. In spite of all this, he had decided to settle for a career of robbery and murder. At the age of 30, he was the most sought-after man on the Pacific Coast. Finally, in 1931, after tracking him for a year and a half through more than a dozen armed robberies, Sergeants Baxter and Taylor of the Los Angeles Police Department brought him in. He served 18 years at San Quentin and Folsom penitentiaries, and then he won his parole at the age of 48. We checked his parole officer, and he had nothing to report against him. We checked back in at robbery detail and met with Captain Ed Walker.
How about Cheney's friends, Weber and Garson? Nothing yet?
Not a thing, Skipper. Stakeout's still on at Garson's mother's place in Santa Barbara. Weber's apartment's still covered.
You called San Diego about this, the Cheney angle?
Yeah, we briefed him. They got all the mugshots down there. Weber's definitely been tagged as one of the men on that finance company job.
I figured Garson for the second man, but none of the witnesses have picked out his mugshot.
You talked to Cheney's parole officer, huh?
Yeah, I did. He gave us Cheney's last address. Same as the one on his ex-con registration, but he's moved. Didn't notify the officer.
Where does that leave you?
Well, I talked to the manager at the apartment. He gave us a couple of addresses to run down. Guess we better start getting on it, huh?
Yeah, it's getting late. Keep in touch. I'll notify if anything breaks here.
Right.
In just a minute. Robbery, Walker. Oh? Yeah, just a minute. You, Joe.
Thank you.
San Diego.
Hey. Friday.
McGuire, Joe. How you doing?
Good. You got something?
We had the holdup witnesses back in again this afternoon. Showed them more mugshots.
Yeah?
Picked out Weber's partner in the holdup.
Yeah?
Name's Frank Cheney.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Lee Silver, general assignment reporter on one of New York's greatest newspapers. You'll see his picture in leading magazines this week. And here is his actual signed statement.
When you have to meet a news deadline, you work at a fast pace, smoke at a fast pace. That's why I smoke Fatima. They're extra mild. In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Tuesday, January 31st, 4 p.m. In addition to the San Diego teletype, we got out a local broadcast and an APB on Frank Cheney. By 4:30, Ben and I had checked out the first of 2 addresses where Cheney's former landlady told us that he might be staying. It was a rooming house out on West Washington. The owner told us that Cheney had stayed at his place for a few days, but that had been more than 2 months before. He had no idea where the suspect might be. We then drove to the second address. It was an apartment house on West Stanford near Slauson. Manager's name was Mrs. Pritchard.
Why, yes, I believe Mr. and Mrs. Cheney are home. They've been in all day.
Which apartment is they in, ma'am?
Number 7, straight down the hall on your right.
Thank you.
They may be having dinner now. Are they expecting you?
Be all right, ma'am. Thank you. Okay.
How about the door?
It's open. Come on. The apartment was deserted. We checked the bedroom and the kitchen. There were obvious signs of a fast getaway. On a card table in the living room, we found the remains of a quick dinner. 2 places were set. One plate was almost clean, the other hardly touched. The coffee on the stove was still lukewarm. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout. Then we went back down the hall and talked to the manager again.
They moved in about a month ago, Sergeant. They looked like any other newly married couple.
Did you notice if they had any visitors, Mrs. Pudgy?
Well, they might have, but I didn't notice.
Did you notice anything odd about them at all?
Only that one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cheney always seemed to have plenty of money. Put down 2 months' rent in advance. But he didn't seem to have a job.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, every morning he'd sleep late, but his wife was up at 8 o'clock to go to work.
Where'd she work, you know?
A company called Thompson and some other name. Offices are down on South Hope. Builders, I think. Homes and things.
Mm-hmm.
My phone. Would you excuse me?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Hello? Oh, yes. What? Yes, 2 police officers.
Miss Pritchard, no.
Talk to you. Hello?
Cheney?
Yes, he hung up.
An alert for Cheney and his wife was broadcast, with special attention for the south end of the city. The wife's name and description was added to the APB. The next morning, Ben and I located her place of employment, Thompson and Kilkenny, a big construction company. The office manager told us that 3 days before, Mrs. Cheney had resigned her job by letter. She asked that her final paycheck be sent to her mother, who lived in Marysville, California. We contacted the Marysville Police Department immediately, and the home of Cheney's mother-in-law was placed under 24-hour surveillance. We now had more than a half a dozen stakeouts going. A week passed. Nothing. Cheney and his wife seemed to have dropped completely from sight. Wednesday, February 9th, we got a tip from the Santa Barbara police that Cheney's friend, Henry Garson, was in Los Angeles working in an auction house on Wilshire Boulevard. We ran it down.
Looks like a high-class place.
They got a nice crowd, haven't they? No, thanks. We'd like to see the manager, please.
All right. Let me see. Oh, yes, over there by the claim desk. The man in the dark suit, Mr. Willis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Willie?
Yeah?
Police officer, sir. We'd like to check on a man who's supposed to be one of your employees, sir.
Oh, that's so? What's his name?
Here's his picture. Can you identify?
Why, yes, that's Johnson, the new clerk. You want to talk to him?
Yes, sir.
All right. Right this way. He's back in the storeroom. Some kind of trouble?
We'd like to talk to him.
Yes, all right. Let's see. Oh, yes, there he is. Johnson. Oh, Johnson, would you come
on, Ben.
You're running. Johnson, come here.
Up the back.
Yep.
There he goes. He's heading up the street. Come on. He got on that bus.
All right, come on, let's double back to the car. Yep. Hurry.
Yep. Did you see the bus?
Yeah. Come on, move it.
Yep.
All right, hit the siren. All right, that did it. The driver's pulling over. Pull up behind the bus there, huh? Come on, let's go. You cover the back door, will you? Open your door. Police officers want to check your passengers. Open that rear door right away.
Yes, sir.
All right, Garson, get off.
I'm getting off.
Coming at you, Joe.
Getting off, cop. I'll make a hole.
Stop it, Garson.
He's got a gun.
I said I'm getting off.
You let's drop it. Come on.
Good, Joe. You okay?
Yeah. Let's get him off of here.
Hey, what's it all about? He do something wrong?
Yeah, he didn't get off when we asked him to. 9 p.m. Wednesday. We drove Garson to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where he was treated for minor cuts and bruises. Then we took him back to the office of the interrogation room. We called San Diego and notified them of the arrest. From 10 o'clock that night until 10 the next morning, Captain Walker, Ben, and I questioned Garson. He refused to admit that he even knew Frank Cheney or Kirk Weber. By noon, he was pretty tired. So were we. At 12:05, a call came through from San Diego.
Friday, this is Russ Ormsby.
Yeah, Russ.
Press lead on Kirk Weber. He's got a sister living in San Clemente.
Yeah?
And we've got her house staked out. Had a tip he's going to pay her a visit.
When's that?
This afternoon.
3:15 p.m. We got to the San Clemente turnoff, and a few minutes later, Ormsby and McGuire arrived from San Diego. We drove to the home of Weber's sister on South Orange Street and identified ourselves. She told us that Turk had been there that morning, but that he'd gone to the races at Del Mar for the afternoon.
Did your brother say he was coming back?
Said he might be back. He wasn't sure.
Did he go to the racetrack alone?
Yeah?
Was he going to meet anyone there?
I don't think so. He didn't mention it.
You driving a car?
No, he took the bus to the track.
I see. Where would he most likely go if he doesn't come back here?
I don't know. Maybe back to L.A., maybe San Diego. I don't know.
And do you know if your brother Turk is going to meet Frank Cheney?
How could he? Turk says Cheney's up north someplace with his wife. Told me that this morning.
Where up north?
He didn't know.
Mm-hmm. You and McGuire want to stake out here, Ormsby? Ben and I'll hit the track.
Yeah, okay.
Look, I can't have cops here if Turk comes back. They think I framed him.
He'll get over it.
You don't know Turk. When he gets sore, he goes out of his head. He'll kill me.
Why worry, miss?
Huh?
He'll have to kill us first.
3:45 p.m. Ben and I left Weber's sister's house and drove down to the racetrack at Del Mar. We got there just at the start of the 7th race. We had no idea whether the suspect was still there or not. We alerted the security police, gave them mug shots of Weber. Then we went to the public address booth in the clubhouse and talked to the man in charge. A few minutes later, the trap for Weber was set.
Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to public address booth. Emergency phone call. Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to public address booth.
We waited. Ben stationed at a vantage point on one side of the booth, me on the other. Minutes passed. Weber didn't show. Ben caught my eye, shrugged his shoulders.
Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to public address booth. Emergency telephone call. Mr. Stanley T. Weber, please come to the public address booth.
The announcer was barely finished when I saw Ben motioning. I looked and saw a large man heading up the cement ramp. When he got to the top, he turned to his right and headed straight for the public address booth. It was Turk Weber.
Hold it right there, Weber.
Police officers, get your hands up.
What is this? You lousy cops, I'll have you busted for this.
Save it, Weber. Get your hands up.
Who took you? What difference does it make sense to you? You'll never get him. You'll never get him in 20 years.
Never get who?
You know who. Cheney. He's too smart for you. You'll never get him, not in 20 years.
All right, we got you, Weber. Shake him, Ben.
I'll shake you, copper.
Watch it, Ben.
Let go. I'll kill you. I'll kill you, all right. That's it. He's sure a big package.
Yeah. Does that fall out of his pocket?
It's like a tip sheet. Yeah. Blue Boys Peerless Selection for Thursday. $1.
Let me look down there, Ken. Best picks. You can't lose. This is your lucky day.
What's it prove?
You ought to get his dollar back.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 19th, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of San Diego, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild, because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
After identifying Frank Cheney as the man who did the shooting in the San Diego holdup and murder, Stanley T. Weber was tried and convicted of participation in the robbery and received a sentence of life imprisonment. Henry Garson was cleared of any complicity in the hold-up killing, but he was returned to prison for violation of parole and for several burglaries in San Diego and Los Angeles. Both men are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary.
Next week, Frank Cheney, the Gentleman Bandit. Part 2.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Next, Sarah's Private Caper with comedian Sarah Berner on NBC.
The original Dragnet, starring Jack Webb as Sergeant Joe Friday, ran on radio from June 3, 1949 to February 26, 1957, and on television from December 16, 1951 to August 23, 1959, and then from January 12, 1967 to April 16, 1970. All those versions ran, of course, on NBC. There were 2 Dragnet feature films, a straight adaptation starring Jack Webb in 1954, and, of course, a favorite of mine, a comedy spoof in 1987. There were also television revivals without Webb in 1989 and 2003. Stay tuned for more classic Dragnet, right here on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 3 persons are shot down in a $12,000 holdup. One of the bandits is apprehended, convicted, and sent to prison for life. The other one is still at large. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 6th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 11:35 a.m. when I got to room 27A, robbery division.
Joe? Hi.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Message in the book for you. Came in a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, thank you.
Woman's voice. Wanted you to call as soon as you got in.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I get it now.
George Street Juvenile Bureau, Miss Bentley.
Policewoman River there, please.
Just a minute. River? Hold on, please.
All right.
Miss River?
Dorothy? Joe Friday.
Oh, yes, Joe. You get the message?
Yeah. You worrying about your purse?
I can't find it anywhere. Did I leave it in your car last night?
Found it this morning. I can leave it at the desk here if you like. You can pick it up sometime today.
Oh, that'll be swell, Joe. Thanks a lot.
Sure, Dorothy.
I had a wonderful time last night, Joe. I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Pretty good movie, huh? They, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Mother and I were talking this morning at breakfast. Like to come over to the house sometime for dinner? Ma'd like to meet you.
Oh, well, sure. That'd be fine. I'd like to meet your mother.
How about a week from this coming Monday? That's my day off. Is that okay?
All right. A week from this Monday.
The weather's good. Well, maybe we can have a barbecue out in the back.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Okay. See you later, then.
All right, Joe. Bye.
Bye.
Joe?
Hi. How'd it work out, Ben?
It didn't. Another false alarm. Sure is a scorcher out today.
4 months' work and not one solid lead. Where are we going?
I haven't got the answer. I've run down so many bum tips, I don't think I know the real thing if it hit me in the face.
Yeah.
Romero, Joe?
Yeah, Skipper?
Oh, McGuire and Mort here from San Diego just got here. You want to come in?
Yeah, right away, Ed. There we are.
All right. Oh, Ben.
What do you say?
Sit down. Hope you two have more than we have.
It's all in that report on the skipper's desk. 4 months legwork. Cold.
Nothing at all?
Oh, lots of phony tips, bum leads. We got 3 stakeouts going. His mugshots plastered all over town.
No go, huh?
I don't know. I think he's got the perfect face for a killer. You can hang his description on 1,000,000 guys. Got nothing on him at all. Ben here just ran down the last lead we own.
Yeah, false alarm.
Nothing on the APB, huh?
Got dust on it. Cold enough to bury.
How long's it been since it happened? Back in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, 27th. Stanley Finance Company, San Diego.
It's all right there in the report, Ed.
Yeah, I see. Hold-up shooting, got 12,000. Suspects Frank Cheney, Turk Weber. Cheney did the shooting. That's what stops me.
What's that?
Took us a couple of weeks to grab Turk Weber and put him away. Here it's more than 4 months and Cheney's still on the loose.
Doesn't that? He can't be that smart.
Well, he's free. I can't think of a better testimonial.
What about the other angles, Friday, besides those 3 stakeouts?
We covered the town for Cheney. He had 4 months of it. Hotels, rooming houses, motor courts, bars, restaurants, the works. Must have a couple of thousand copies of his mugshot spread around.
No response?
Oh, get 4 or 5 calls a day on him. Been going on for weeks now. We check him out. Never the right man.
What about his wife? She's still supposed to be with Cheney, isn't she?
Funny thing, we haven't had one report on her.
Last time the two of them were supposed to have been seen together was 5 weeks ago. That was up in Stockton.
Cheney's mother-in-law lives in Marysville, huh? You still have a stakeout on her house?
Yeah, no leads there either.
How about it, Mort? Nothing to offer? About the same as up here. There is something we'd like to check on, though. Yeah? One of McGuire's informants was paroled 2 weeks ago. He served time with Cheney at Folsom.
You have anything to say?
Yeah. It's his idea Frank Cheney was the most hated man at Folsom. Most of the cons had given their right arm to cool him off.
Mm-hmm. What made him so popular?
Pretty much of a heel. Ran to the warden's office 3 times a week regular. Informed on the other cons every chance he got.
You figure some of them might want to even the score. Mm-hmm. If they know anything, I'm pretty sure they'll talk.
Worth a try, isn't it? Their leads can't be any colder than what we got anyway.
You gonna need any help, Mort?
No, McGuire and I can handle the questioning. We'll go up to Folsom tomorrow. Okay. I don't think there's any argument. This thing needs a quick answer. Joe, you and Ben will have to push a lot harder and a lot faster. Cheney's robbed and killed before. Give him a chance, he'll do it again.
We've run down all the possible angles, Ed. We've checked every lead we could dig up.
There's one you missed.
Yeah.
The right one. Find it.
From the day Frank Cheney had been identified as the killer in the San Diego hold-up murder 4 months before, all of us realized the danger of another killing as long as he was loose. After 18 years in prison, Cheney had a gun and he had his freedom again. We knew he wouldn't give him up easily. Thursday, June 8th, Lieutenant Mort Gear and Sergeant Tony McGuire returned from Folsom Prison. After talking with most of the convicts who knew Cheney well during his prison days, they had a list of more than 40 leads to run down. Ben and I took half of them. We started checking. It went kind of slow, and the results were thin. After running down the first dozen leads, we'd found out nothing about the suspect that we didn't already know. Monday, June 12th. We checked with a John Strezak, supposedly one of Cheney's close friends up at Folsom. He'd been paroled before Cheney, and he was now working at a large commercial engraving firm down on East Main.
Yeah, I knew Cheney pretty well, Sergeant. Pretty well. Just a minute, will you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does it. Yeah, I know why you're here, Sergeant. I can't help you.
You were pretty close to Cheney up at Folsom, weren't you, Strezak? Best friend?
Everybody was his best friend. Everybody could do him some good.
You haven't seen or heard from him since he got out, huh?
Nope, I don't want to. I learned fast.
What do you mean?
He's a bum, Sergeant. Some people are born that way. Tried to talk me into a break once. I didn't buy. I knew he didn't write to the warden with it. Some people are born that way, bums.
You think somebody might be hiding him out? Some of his pals. How about them?
He's got any pals, I don't know. I can tell you this, they didn't come out of Folsom.
Well, can you think of anything at all that might give us some kind of a lead on Cheney?
I wish I could, believe me. Now, I better get back on the job. Shop foreman. He's no better than Cheney. Bum.
All right, Strizak. Thanks a lot. I'd like to know if you hear anything. I'm going to leave you one of our cards here.
Yeah. Okay, Sergeant.
Hey, Strizak, what'd you go up for, anyhow?
Just what I'm doing.
Huh?
Grading.
We kept at it, checking out the leads one by one, the same slow, dull routine that we'd been on for 4 months. It ate up valuable time, but it was necessary. You never know what a lead's worth until you check it out. During the past months, from the least promising sources, we'd uncovered a half a dozen bits of information about the suspect, none of them conclusive, but they helped point the way. We found out Cheney's favorite sport was sailing. Yacht clubs up and down the coast were contacted and asked to watch for him. We learned where Cheney got his eyeglasses, contact lenses. We went to the optician, got the prescription for them, and had copies of it distributed to all optical firms in the area. They got a request for lenses which matched those in Cheney's eyeglasses or contact lenses. They were to notify us. From a former college friend, we found out that the suspect was once treated for tuberculosis, and because of this, he drank only goat's milk. All the retailers in the area who sold goat's milk were contacted and alerted. We set up a system to check regularly all the mail received by relatives of both Cheney and his wife. Thursday, June 15th.
Hi. San Diego called while you were out. What year?
They come up with anything?
Yeah. One lead told him Cheney learned the printing trade while he was up at Folsom. Knew the business well enough to work at it.
San Diego checking that out?
They alerted the Printers Union. We'll do the same up here.
Mm-hmm.
Picture and story on Cheney will be in the Union newspaper next week.
Yeah. And we dug up another bit on Cheney. We got it this morning.
What's that?
Well, instead of ordinary eyeglasses, Cheney's been known to wear contact lenses. You know, glass fits right over your eye.
Uh-huh.
Good chance he might be wearing them now. Kind of help change his appearance.
We got the prescription for the lenses from Cheney's eye doctor. Got the information to all the optical firms in town.
Good.
Friday, man out here to see you.
Oh, okay, thank you, Dave.
All right, that's all. Better contact San Diego. Keep him posted.
Right, Skipper.
This gentleman here, Joe. This is Sergeant Friday.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sergeant. You remember me, Vince Bertoli? You're in my place last month, the White House Grill.
Place down on Alameda?
Yeah, that's right. Block from Union Station. Both of you came in.
Yeah.
You had coffee and an omelet? You liked the omelet?
Sure, yeah. What can we do for you, Bertoli?
Well, remember you were talking to me? You said you were looking for somebody. You left some pictures in this card of yours here.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I lost the pictures. I don't know where I lost them, but I kept your card. That's why I came to see you.
Why?
Well, as I say, I lost the pictures, but I still have an idea what they look like.
Have you seen either one of those people, the man or the woman?
Well, that's why I came to check with you. A week ago, one of my steady waitresses quit, and I hired this brunette with a hard luck story.
Mm-hmm.
Care for a stick of gum? Licorice flavor?
No.
Thank you.
Well, after a couple of days, I remembered that picture you gave me, and I thought she looked a little like it. That's why I kept an eye on her.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary?
You bet she never dates anybody. Not even me, and I'm the boss. Not ugly either.
Yeah?
She always claims she's got to get home. Never gives a reason. Says she lives alone.
Well, where does she live?
A couple of blocks from my place on North Jersey, I think. I checked the place where she does her shopping. They tell me she buys enough groceries for 3 people.
Mm-hmm. She still insists that she's living by herself, though.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd better check with you. I lost the pictures, but I hung on to your card.
Will you take a look at this photograph, Bertoli?
Yeah. Sure, see one you gave me. Looks just like her, Mary Sloan.
Who?
Mary Sloan. That's her name, isn't it?
You want to turn that picture over?
Mrs. Frank Cheney.
Thursday, 4 p.m. Ben and I drove down to the White House Grill and had a cup of coffee. We got a good look at the waitress whom the owner, Vince Bertoli, suspected of being Mrs. Cheney. We left and waited outside in the car until 5 o'clock when the suspect came out. We followed her to a grocery store and from there to a rundown apartment building on Greystone Alley just off Temple. We waited a few minutes and then we followed her in. The tab on one of the mailboxes read, Mary Sloan, apartment 16. We went up.
Which one, Joe?
Number 16. It's down this way. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we better try the door, huh?
Who's there? Who is it?
Police officers, open up.
What do you want?
Open the door.
Just a minute.
Anybody else in here?
My brother. He's sick, sleeping in the next room. He can't be disturbed.
Come on, Ben.
You can't go in there. Honey, the cops! Get out!
Joe, the window. All right, get back inside here.
Go, let go of me!
His arms, Ben. Grab it. All right. You all right?
Yeah. Thought he broke my bridge work.
Yeah, you got clipped for nothing.
Hmm?
Not Cheney. We drove the man and the woman who identified herself as Mary Sloan back to the office where they are identified as fugitives from Miami, Florida. The man was wanted on charges of first-degree burglary. The woman was the accomplice. We turned the case over to Bunko Fugitive Detail. A little after 11 o'clock Friday morning, Ben got a tip that Cheney had been seen the night before at a small bar down near Fullerton. That's a Los Angeles suburb. He was supposed to be living in the area. We spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday tracking it down. It went nowhere. On Monday, for the first time in 3.5 weeks, we had some time off. Half a day. I picked up policewoman Dorothy River and drove her out to the house for lunch. We had a barbecue out in the backyard.
Certainly a wonderful place you have here, Mrs. Friday. Beautiful garden.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of work keeping it up. Roses didn't do well at all this year. Aphis, you know.
What's more spare ribs, Dorothy? The fire's just right now.
Oh, no, thanks, Joe. I've had plenty.
Care for another cup of coffee, Dorothy?
All right, thank you.
I'm glad you could come today, Dorothy. Joseph's been talking so much about you.
Oh?
You surprised me a little when I met you.
How's that?
How about some more ribs, Ma?
Oh, no, thank you, Joseph. I don't think you look at all like a policewoman. Most of them are rough-looking, aren't they?
Oh, no, I don't think so. They look like most women. Nothing much out of the ordinary about them.
Oh? Well, times have certainly changed. We didn't have police women when I was a girl.
Oh, we could have used them.
Well, I don't know. I don't think we had so much crime then. Times were much different. You seem so young for such work, Dorothy. Policewoman.
I'm 25, Mrs. Friday. Been with the department almost 2 years.
Oh, yes, you're a young girl. Joseph's 31, you know.
Yes, I know.
Hey, Ma, how about letting me gather you the dishes up?
Oh, no, that's all right, Joseph. You just sit there. Have your coffee. I'm used to this. Have to get used to housework when you're married. I'll bring out pie.
A wonderful dinner, Joe. Your mother's very sweet.
Yeah, real subtle, isn't she?
Oh, motherly instinct. Somebody has to look after you.
That's the phone, Dorothy. I better grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll answer, Joseph.
Never mind, Ma. Let me get it. Friday talking.
This is Walker, Joe. Check back in right away.
What do you got?
Spring and West Temple, the Second National Bank.
Yeah?
Frank Cheney just held it up.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of registered nurse Shirley Gelman of Los Angeles, California. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more. I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, June 19th, 3 p.m. I went back to the office, picked up Ben and Captain Walker, and the three of us drove to the scene of the robbery at the corner of Spring and West Temple, the Second National Bank. Ricketts and Baxter from robbery detail were already there questioning witnesses. We talked to the bank's vice president in charge at the time of the holdup, Mr. Bronson. He had a welt on the right side of his head and was pretty badly shaken.
He had his hand in one of his coat pockets, and he walked straight over to me. It's the first thing he said. This is a holdup.
You're positive of the identification, Mr. Bronson?
I'm certain. This picture here, it's the man, all right. The others will tell you the same.
Who's that, Mr. Bronson?
The tellers, they all got a good look at him. No mistake.
Well, what happened after Cheney approached you?
He was very calm, very quiet.
Uh-huh.
He said, do exactly what I tell you. Call for help, and I'll kill you. He was calm all the way through it, just like it was an ordinary business with him.
Did he have you get the money for him?
No, he ordered me from back to the front counter there, and we went from cage to cage. Each time he had me say the same thing to the teller. This is a holdup. Give me all the currency you have. Don't call for help.
How many tellers did he have you collect from?
5.
Mm-hmm.
This line along here, windows 1 to 5. Oh, my knees were shaking so hard I could barely walk. I kept wondering if one of the tellers might try to sound the alarm.
Yes, sir. What happened after he got the money?
He had me walk in front of him, down there to the side exit.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he hit me, I guess. Side of my head, you can see here where they bandaged it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
How much money did he get, do you know?
No, I'm not quite sure. More than 4,000. I can't help but think how lucky I am. That man's a killer, I'm certain of it.
Are you sure that we can't fix you up with a ride home?
No, I'll be all right, thank you. My wife's on the way down now.
All right.
Can I see you fellas a minute?
Yeah, thanks, sir. Excuse us, will you, Bronson?
Yes, certainly.
Rounded up all the dope on the getaway car Cheney used.
Yeah?
At 2 this afternoon, he went to a used car lot up in Figueroa, about 8 blocks from here. Asked to be shown a late model Ford.
Yeah, go ahead.
The salesman took him for a demonstration ride. When he pulled up for an arterial, Cheney jabbed a gun at him and told him to get out. The salesman got out. Cheney drove off.
And 15 minutes later, he walked in here and pulled the robbery.
That's it. The bank tellers tabbed the same Ford as the getaway car. Broadcasted all points on the car. Nothing yet.
What time you got from there?
10 minutes before.
What time did the alert go out, Baxter?
2:45.
Everything covered?
Yeah, Union Station, both airports, the bus depots are all alerted. Roadblocks set up on the highways.
Since 2:45.
Just about.
And Cheney's somewhere in the city.
Find him.
6 p.m., the search went on. We called into the office and had them notify San Diego of the latest developments in the case. At 7 p.m., the weather started to cloud up. Still no sign of Cheney or the getaway car. At 8 o'clock, it started to rain. A few minutes past 10, a 2-door Ford sedan was found abandoned on San Pedro Street near South Park. The license number matched that of Cheney's getaway car. The sedan was impounded and towed to a garage for fingerprinting. Ben called the office, and an emergency detail from Metropolitan Division was sent out to help in a house-to-house canvass of the neighborhood where the car had been found. By 4:30 the next morning, we'd gotten nowhere. So we decided to give it up until later in the day. At 6:30 a.m., we had poached eggs and coffee at an all-night drive-in. 7 a.m., it was still raining. We checked back in at the office.
I don't know. Seems like every time we have to work late, it's going to rain.
You got any of those little white tablets in your locker? At breakfast, any indigestion?
Yeah, I think I got a few there. That reminds me, how'd the dinner come off yesterday? 2 of them get along all right?
Oh, yeah, all right. You know how it is. Ma had her usual few things to say.
Oh?
Dorothy handled it pretty good. Good sense of humor.
Got a nice-looking girl. Sensitive.
What's say, Earl?
Do any good?
No, not much.
Phone message in the book for you. You're supposed to call as soon as you get in.
Hempstead 4219. No name?
No, you're supposed to call the number, that's all.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, how's the new house, Earl?
Pretty good. Takes a lot of money. Got the forms in for the patio. I'm going to pour the cement this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Got the place fenced off yet?
Not yet, no. Most pickets cost money.
Fellas are telling me that you're doing all the work yourself, huh?
Me and the brother-in-law, yeah. Costs a lot of money, a new house.
Sounds good, Joe.
Who was it?
Frank Cheney's grandfather.
Yeah?
Says to come over right away.
7:30 a.m. It was still raining. Ben and I drove out to the older section of the Wilshire district to the Cheney mansion. represented one part of the suspect's life that we could never figure. As a child and later as a young man, Frank Cheney had had every advantage and comfort that a millionaire father could buy for him. Yet for some reason, he'd settled on a career of crime. 7:45 a.m., Ben and I were shown into the main hallway of the Cheney home by the butler. He recognized us from previous visits. He took our hats and coats and then led us up the staircase to the master bedroom at the far end of the second floor. We found Cheney's 82-year-old grandfather propped up in a four-poster bed. His face was gray and sunken. There was a nurse in a white starched uniform standing by.
You can go, nurse. Go on.
I'll be outside if you need me, Mr. Cheney.
Yes.
You, have some information for us, Mr. Cheney?
Of course. I called. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
That hold-up yesterday, the bank robbery. I know all about it.
Has Frank contacted you?
It's like the police. Get right to the point.
Has he contacted you, sir?
Yes. Hand me that glass of water, please.
Oh, yeah. There you are.
Thank you. No, leave it on the table there.
Oh, yes.
When Frank got out of prison last year, he came to see me. I offered him one more chance. I told him if he decided to earn his way, he'd have all the help I could give him. He said he would.
Yes, sir.
I was a fool like everyone else. I believed him.
Any idea where Frank is now?
I gave him everything it was possible to give him. He wrecked the family, his father's life, my life. Everything he touched, he ruined.
You know where he is now, sir?
He telephoned me day before yesterday. He was going away, Central America.
Why didn't you notify us?
He was going away. I thought it'd be better. We've had enough notoriety, newspaper stories.
How was he going to get to South America, sir?
Swedish ship. He's going to work his way. He called from San Pedro. Staying in some hotel there.
You don't know the name?
Find him, take him away. Bury him someplace.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cheney.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir?
Frank will have a gun. He'll try to use it.
Yes, sir.
Kill him.
9 a.m. Ben and I went back to the office and put in a call to the Swedish Vice Consulate on South Spring Street. They told us that 3 days before, a man answering Cheney's description had signed on the Swedish motor ship Southern Cross as a member of the engine room crew. We picked up Sergeants Thaxter and Davis and drove down to San Pedro. The Southern Cross was still taking on cargo when we got there. We showed Cheney's mugshot to the first mate.
You're the American. Cameron, that's him. He signed on this trip.
Is he aboard the ship now?
No, he's right up there on deck. He was there. I guess he went below.
What if you'd take us to him, please?
All right. Lindgren! Ja? Ta över kommanden en liten stund. All right, this way. The gangway, mind yourself.
Better watch it, Ben.
Yeah.
Look forward. Through here.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you better stay behind here, sir. We'll take him.
What's that?
Might be a little trouble here. Do you want to stay behind us?
All right. You must stay in the engine room. Straight ahead, then turn to your left. Down the companion bay.
Right, thank you.
Come on, I'll watch your step here.
Yeah. Joe. It's him.
Come on. Spotted him. All right, Cheney, hold it. He's making a break. Come on. You're going topside. Hustle. Come on, up the ladder. Look out, Joe! Give it up, Cheney. He's going for the gangway. Down, Ben. Yeah. All right, stop him. Come on.
Yeah. Through the shoulder.
Yeah. Bumped his head when he fell. Better get the cuffs on him.
Yeah. Where'd everybody disappear to?
I guess you didn't notice when we came aboard.
Huh?
Look topside. See? Red flag.
Oh, yeah. Taking on fuel, huh?
There's some of the cargo right over there.
Oh.
High explosives.
The
story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of San Diego, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Frank Bertram Cheney was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He is now awaiting execution in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman is knifed to death in her home. The body bears the mark of inhuman attack. The killer escapes. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 29th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the interrogation room. It was 11:23 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, Joe.
Like to type this up for me? Dead body report.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Joe?
How you doing?
They bring Palmer in yet?
He's in the interrogation room. Captain's with him.
What's his story?
He claims he had nothing to do with it. Did you contact any of the boys' relatives?
Says he hasn't got any in town. It was just him and his mother.
You called Juvenile Hall, didn't you?
Yeah, they'll look after him for the time being. Pretty big shock for a kid.
Yeah. Did you get anything out of him?
Harry and I have been talking to him. It's just starting to make sense. You want to lend a hand?
Sure.
We're going to the beach tomorrow, my mother and I. She had a day off and we're going to the beach. That's all I know. That's all she knows.
Harry?
Hi. You want to give it a try?
Yeah. All right, Robert. Come on, son. It's going to be all right now. We need your help, Robert. Think you could answer a few questions for us?
How about a bite to eat, son? I get you something?
No, I'm hungry. I'm okay.
That's the stuff. Oh, here, take it. It's clean hands, sir.
Yeah. Well, you're the cop that drove me down here, aren't you?
That's right.
Not going back to the house.
You won't have to, son.
I'm never going back to that place.
All right.
It was awful.
Could you start from the beginning for us, Bob, and just take it easy? Tell us what you know.
Okay. Think I could have a coat?
I'll pick up a couple. Be right back.
Right here. Thanks, Harry.
Well, all I know is I left the house about 7:30. Mom gave me the money to go to a show.
Was she alone in the house when you left?
Yeah, that's right. We had dinner and then I went to the show.
You usually go to the show on school nights, huh?
No, but Mom asked me if I wanted to go. She gave me the money. Double feature. She told me to stay for both pictures.
Mm-hmm. She usually tell you that?
No, she always said to just stay for one picture. She didn't want me coming home so late.
Was she expecting anybody to visit her? I mean, after you'd gone?
She didn't say so. She just told me to stay for both pictures, that's all.
What time did the movie let out?
Almost 11 o'clock. Pretty late, so I went straight home. Mom was in the bedroom. She was on the floor. There was this knife, this big knife.
What'd you do then, son?
I ran outside, hollered. Wallace's came over from next door. Went inside and looked, and they called the cops.
That knife you saw in the bedroom.
There was blood on it, all over it. It was terrible.
Did you ever see the knife before?
Yeah. Yeah, Roy gave it to my mom last year. It's a bowler knife.
Who is this Roy?
Mom's boyfriend. One of them. He's in the Navy.
Was he at your house tonight?
I told you, it was just Mom and I. Roy had a fight with Mom about 2 weeks ago. He said he didn't like her having other boyfriends, and they had a fight.
They argued, is that what you mean?
Yeah. And once Roy slapped my mom.
Mm-hmm. Want one of these, Joe?
No, thanks, Harry.
Okay.
There's your Coke, Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Son, did you know most of your mother's friends?
Most of them, yeah.
Can you think of any of them who might have wanted to hurt your mother?
I don't know. Roy Palmer, maybe. He was mad at her. He's the only one I can think of. I don't know. I don't want to think about it anymore.
All right, son. We won't bother you anymore tonight. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Beth?
Mm-hmm.
We want to follow through with juvenile hall, see if the boy's taken care of.
Okay. You going to be in the interrogation room?
Yeah, I got a few more questions for Roy Palmer.
Right. Check you later.
Okay.
Crime lab back yet, Friday?
No, not yet, Captain. Just talked with the Reynolds boy.
Yeah?
Can't believe anything that kid tells you. He's a liar. He hates me.
You give him reason to hate you, Palmer?
The kid's a liar, that's all.
You were his mother's boyfriend. He said 2 weeks ago you had a fight with her that you slapped her.
All right, I slapped her. That don't make it murder. I wasn't near that house last night, and I didn't kill her.
We found your knife in her bag.
Huh?
A bolo knife, bone handle.
That's not mine. I gave it to her a year ago for a present. Didn't even know she still had it. Look, why do you have to pick on me?
Because you had a motive and you haven't got an alibi.
What about all those bums you used to run around with? Why don't you ask them for alibis?
When we find them, we'll ask them.
Do you know any of them, Palmer? The other men that she went out with?
How'd I know? The only time she ran around was when I was on sea duty.
And how'd you know she was running around?
Friends of mine. We saw her out with these guys.
I get it. Interrogation room, Friday.
Lee Jones, Joe. Just got back from the Dixon house.
Anything?
Off to a fast start. Blatant prints. Checked the murder weapon, that knife. Dusted the handle.
Yeah?
Fingerprints. Perfect set.
Captain Steve and I took the suspect, Roy Palmer, down the hall and had his fingerprints taken. At the same time, across the street in the crime lab, a set of fingerprints were lifted from the weapon which had taken the life of Mrs. Betty Dixon. The two sets of prints were checked and rechecked. They didn't match. Every object in the murder house was gone over for fingerprints and further evidence. Roy Palmer's fingerprints were on none of them. He was released pending further investigation. The only suspect in one of the most savage murders in the history of the city was free. The next morning, Captain Steed and I met with Chief Detective Thad Brown.
How about the dead woman's son? Did you talk to him again?
Well, Romero's with him now. He's taking down a list of all the people that his mother knew, friends, neighbors, everybody.
No luck yet with a set of fingerprints?
No, we've got no record on him. Checking them through Washington, we ought to get a kickback pretty soon.
So the prints and a piece of envelope. That's the physical evidence, huh?
Yeah. One of the top corners off an envelope. It had a postmark on it, Sonoma.
Sonoma. Tie in with anything yet?
No, not so far. Might turn up when we start checking the victim's friends.
You posted the body this morning. I guess you saw this coroner's report.
Yeah, I did.
I don't have to tell you, you're not after an ordinary killer.
23 knife wounds.
Revenge motive, maybe.
Yeah. The reaction of the dead woman's neighbors, that's what's got me stopped.
No one heard a thing?
Mitchell and Didion are still covering the neighborhood. Haven't found anyone yet who saw or heard anything unusual.
Well, I can't buy it. A woman isn't just cut down like that without some kind of a commotion. Besides, the homes in that neighborhood are fairly close together.
Shouldn't take much to make yourself heard from one house to the other.
No sign of robbery or burglary?
No, according to the boy, the house is intact. Nobody touched anything.
Leaves you with the boyfriend angle. Lover's quarrel.
We're stuck with it, yeah.
Hi, Chief.
Romero, go ahead.
How'd you make out?
Better than I thought. Boy was over most of the shop this morning.
Did he talk?
5 pages of names and addresses. He gave me all of them.
Well, how about that boyfriend angle?
Oh, about half a dozen names. Seems the mother had quite a social life since the boy's father died.
You confirmed the boy's story about going to the movies?
Yeah, it checks out.
Pretty nice kid, considering the environment he's been raised in.
Well, how about those names, Ben? Any of them list Sonoma as their hometown?
No, I don't think so. Let me check here. Okay. No. Huh? No, none of them.
All right, you better start digging into that list. Postmark may tie in later. Meantime, you still have that set of fingerprints.
No chance for a mistake there. When you reach the right man, those prints will connect him with the killing.
That makes it simple for you. Prints will tell us who he is. You got only one answer to dig for.
Yeah.
Where he is.
Thursday, September 30th, 11 a.m. We started checking the list of the murdered woman's friends through R&I for any possible criminal record. It's usually the case that a major crime rates headline space twice. When the crime is committed, when the criminal is apprehended. Between the two, more than often, there's a space of weeks and months, sometimes even years, in which the police officer goes through the monotonous, undramatic business of checking files, asking questions, sifting and sorting leads and evidence until he finally reaches the criminal. For a news story, it's pretty dull material, but it proves out the contention of most working detectives. You don't catch criminals with headlines. Monday, October 4th. We checked with Miss Lucille Dana, a counter clerk at a little market out on Crenshaw.
Terrible thing. I've been away on my vacation. Heard about it when I got home yesterday.
You were pretty good friends with Betty Dixon. That right, Miss Dana?
Yeah, pretty close. Oh, excuse me a minute. I'll take care of this customer.
Yeah, all right.
Is there anything, sir?
No, 2 bags of jelly beans, please.
All right.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, it's 19, 87, 9, 87. This is not marked. Just a minute. Tommy?
Yeah?
Number 2 corned beef. How much?
Just a minute. 67.
Thanks. $2.17. Out of 5. $2.17 to $20, $25, $50, $3, $4, $5. Thank you.
Okay.
I just can't get over it, Sergeant. Poor Betty.
We understand that you used to go out with the Dixon woman, Miss Dana. Do you know most of her close friends?
Well, most of her men friends. We used to double date a lot together.
I wonder if you'd take a look at this list of names that we have here.
All right. Let's see.
Now, does that about cover all her boyfriends, all that you knew of anyway?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Tony Morse, Galbraith, Al O'Neill. You don't have Floyd down here.
Who was that? Floyd who?
I never did know what his last name was. He used to take both of us out, Betty and I. Seemed to like her quite a bit.
When's the last time she was out with him, do you know?
Oh, 5 or 6 months ago at least. Kind of strange.
How do you mean?
Floyd. Jealous, you know. Hot temper. Said he was Spanish, but he had a light complexion. Oh, excuse me, please.
Sure.
Yes, sir?
A pack of that mint gum and some lighter flints, please.
Yes, sir. 25. Thank you.
All right.
Could you describe this Floyd for us, Miss Dana?
Well, he was kind of fresh and conceited in some ways. He was attractive. A lot of fun.
How about his physical appearance, his weight and height?
About 6 feet, I'd say. Nice build. 180 pounds, I guess. Dark hair, dark brown eyes. Good dancer.
How do you and Miss Dixon get along?
Oh, I don't think he did. Floyd and Betty used to fight all the time, but she used to fight with Roy Palmer, too. I don't think Floyd did it.
Is he in town now, do you know?
No, I don't. As I say, last time I saw him was 6 months ago.
Would you know if Mrs. Dixon saw him recently?
She did. She didn't tell me.
You have no idea then where we could get in touch with this Floyd?
Well, no, I don't. He's from up north originally.
Is that so?
Yeah, Sonoma.
Ben and I went back to the office and got off a teletype to the Sonoma Police Department along with a description of the suspect named Floyd. Then we checked with the 16-year-old son of the murdered woman. He remembered the man called Floyd, and essentially his description of the suspect checked out with that given us by his mother's friend, Lucille Dana. 3 p.m. We met with Lieutenant Harry Didion and Captain Steve.
You want to fill him in, Didion?
Finally got in touch with the dead woman's next-door neighbor. His name's Conroy.
Get anything out of him?
They seem to be the only ones who heard anything the night of the murder.
What they had to say?
Let's see. Yeah, they saw Mrs. Dixon's son, Robert, leave the house about 7:30 the night of the murder. And nothing till 8:30.
Yeah?
Heard loud pounding on the back door of the Dixon home. The door finally opened. They heard an angry woman's voice invite the person in.
A man?
Yeah.
Any description?
Not much. He was tall, good build.
Not much, Jack.
Go on.
Neighbors said it was quiet then for about an hour. Then they heard a woman crying. Said it sounded like Mrs. Dixon.
They make out any of the conversation?
I got it right here. About 9:30 they heard Mrs. Dixon, a lot of loud talking. She said, "Why don't you kill me then, Floyd? Put me out of my misery."
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
They said it was quiet between 9:30 and 10. And they heard something that sounded like the thud of a body falling on the floor, a piece of furniture overturned.
No screams for help.
Funny, but the neighbors say no. The only other thing they heard was Mrs. Dixon. Here's a quote. She said, "Do a good job, finish me off."
None of the neighbors thought of calling the police.
Well, they told me they didn't want to get mixed up in a family fight. None of their business. She had quite a few men visit her.
That's all of it, huh?
No, one more thing. I guess this is what made the neighbors think everything was all right. About 10:15, they heard a man's voice, couldn't make out any words. Then they heard Mrs. Dixon say, "Please kiss me goodbye."
Mm-hmm.
A few minutes after that, they heard someone leave for the back door.
They see him?
Not very good. I think it was the same man they saw go in. Pretty tall, good build. That's it.
Where does it leave us?
Pretty weird.
I'll buy that.
Oh, I don't know.
She was supposed to be a sane woman. She'd have to be pretty drunk to ask a man to kill her.
And it'd have to be pretty drunk to take her up on it.
Why the killer used that bolo knife on the victim. That piece of envelope we found by the body.
Yeah, it was postmarked Sonoma. There's a state mental hospital up there.
Just a hunch.
Maybe we're dealing with a maniac. 4 p.m. Monday. R&I could give us nothing because of the meager description. Ben and I checked out of the office and went over to the state building to the Department of State Institutions. First, we checked the name Floyd through the files, using it as a last name, then as a first name. Failed to connect. Either the names didn't fit the description of the suspect, or they were elderly men still confined to the institution of Sonoma. We checked through the files using Floyd as a middle name. We came up with 2 recent parolees from Sonoma. Both matched the description almost perfectly. Both had the middle name of Floyd. We checked out the first one, Charles Floyd Johansson. We found out that he'd been returned to Sonoma almost a month before. The second parolee still had his freedom. We took a set of his fingerprints back to the office and had them checked out with a set of prints found on the murder weapon.
How's it shape up, Joey? Richard Floyd Coleman. That the right name?
Yeah. Any make?
He's your killer.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it'll be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of skating star Helen Davidson of the 1951 Ice Capades. This is her actual signed statement.
Recently, on tour with the Ice Capades, I've noticed more and more people smoking Fatima. You know why? If you like king-size cigarettes, you're bound to prefer the one that's extra mild. I know I do. And I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
More and more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
October 4th, 7 p.m. We got on an APB and a radiogram on Richard Floyd Coleman. We checked DMV for possible auto ownership. From his record, we found that he had been confined twice to the state mental hospital at Sonoma. The first time for a period of 2 years, the second time for 14 months. Hospital files showed us that on both occasions he had been committed by his older sister, Evelyn Coleman, his only living relative. Her address was listed as 5640 Upper Terrace, an apartment court in the East Wilshire district. We drove out to question her. In one of her apartment windows was a hand-lettered sign, seamstress, dresses made to order, Evelyn Marie Coleman. She turned out to be a tall, quiet girl in her 30s, gray eyes, brown hair. She worked on the sewing machine while we talked with her.
I'm sorry to be so rude, Sergeant, but I have to have this blouse ready by 2 this afternoon. Miss Tyler's coming to call for it.
That's perfectly all right, Miss Coleman.
Exactly. What was it that you wanted to know?
It's about your brother, Richard.
Oh, anything wrong?
No, we're just checking, that's all. We'd like to talk to him.
Oh, what about?
Routine check. I understand he spent some time up at Sonoma.
Yes, he did. Richard's had a hard time of it. Doctors don't seem to know the trouble. Poor Richard, he's so mixed up.
You're his only living relative?
Yes, I am. Folks died when we were both young. Practically raised Richard myself.
Have you seen your brother lately, Miss Coleman?
No, not lately. Why?
You any idea where we might contact him?
Well, no, I don't. You see, he travels around the state a good deal.
Oh, is he working?
No. Well, he writes from time to time. Oh, what was it you wanted to see him about, Sergeant?
It's just routine questioning. We'd like to talk to him.
Oh.
Where was he when you last heard from him, Miss Coleman?
Well, couldn't you tell me what you want to see him about?
We'd just like to question him, that's all.
What about? You can tell me.
Is your brother in the city now?
Oh, I don't know. I just got back. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. Almost 3 weeks.
Does he usually stay here when he's in town?
Well, sometimes, yes. Is Floyd in some kind of trouble?
Is that the name he usually goes by, Floyd?
Well, most of his friends call him Floyd. Why?
You think he might be staying with one of his friends here in the city?
He might be. I don't know. Look, Sergeant, if Floyd's in trouble, you can tell me. I've seen him through lots of trouble before.
Not this kind, miss.
Women? Oh. I wish there was something I could do.
Where was he when you last heard from him?
He was in Santa Barbara. He wrote me. Please, Sergeant, why do you have to see Floyd? Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Hello? Oh, yes, Miss Tyler. Uh-huh. Well, maybe just a few minutes late. Would 2:30 be all right? Oh, fine, thank you. All right, Miss Tyler, bye. Oh, have to hurry. Mrs. Tyler's blouse.
Sure, you go right ahead.
I really don't make much of a dressmaker, but I'm saving up. I'm going to buy a place in the valley farther out. Be fine for Floyd and me. Be awfully good for him. Floyd has to get away from excitement. He's awfully nervous.
Hey, Miss Coleman.
Miss Sergeant?
Are those your brother's suitcases in the alcove back there?
Yes, they are. They've been there for a month. I keep his odds and ends for him.
I'm sure he hasn't been here in the past month.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Please, Sergeant, why don't you tell me the truth? I've been through this before. There's trouble with Floyd. What is it this time?
It's pretty bad.
Well, what is it?
We want to ask him about a murder.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do that. You sure it was Floyd?
We'd like to talk to him.
Floyd. Floyd. It didn't have to happen. I was going to buy a place in the valley. Floyd would have liked it there. I was going to take care of him out in the valley.
Do you have any idea where we could find him, Miss Coleman?
No, I don't. I don't know where he is. Santa Barbara, that's the last I heard. I've been worried about him.
If he was in the city, would he come here to stay, ma'am?
Well, he did before, yes, but I don't know about now.
Does he have a car?
No, not that I know of. No, I don't know what he's living on. He doesn't have any money. Who was the woman?
Mrs. Dixon. Seems to know your brother pretty well.
Oh, boy.
You better grab that, Ben.
Yeah, all right. Hello. Yes. That's all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Tyler, she'll pick up her blouse tomorrow.
Ben and I left Evelyn Coleman's place and went back to the office. A stakeout was placed on her apartment. 2 days went by. Nothing happened. Despite the fact that the suspect's sister had promised to cooperate fully with us in locating her brother, A team of men was assigned to follow her wherever she went as insurance against any possible slip-up. As far as we were concerned, no precaution was out of reason. A maniac was on the loose in the city, the same maniac who had murdered the Dixon woman. He'd done it once, and if the urge was there, he'd do it again. We sweated out the next 3 days. On the afternoon of the 6th day, we got an urgent call from one of the parole officers in the State Institutions Department, a Miss Gertrude Vaughn. Ben and I went over and checked with her.
Call came in about 20 minutes ago, Sergeant. Man's voice.
What do you have to say?
He wanted to talk to me about the Betty Dixon case. Being nervous.
You say he knew anything about it?
I didn't want to frighten him off asking too many questions. I got the idea he had something he wanted to get off his mind.
Well, did he mention anything specific? I mean, names, places, anything like that?
No, but I got the impression he knew quite a bit about the case.
What else?
He promised he'd be here by 4 o'clock. Said he'd be ready to talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's 2:45 now. All right, Ben.
Okay.
Pull up a chair. We waited. 3:15, 3:30, 3:45. No sign of the anonymous caller. 4 p.m. Still no sign. We waited. At 4:30, the office door opened and a tall, thin girl with brown hair came in and walked straight toward the desk of Parole Officer Gertrude Vaughn. We saw Miss Vaughn motion the girl across the room toward us. It was Evelyn Coleman.
Sergeant.
Miss Coleman?
Hi.
I know where Floyd is. I'll take you to him.
4:35 p.m. Ben and I left the state building with Evelyn Coleman, got in our car, and drove north across the city, according to her directions, until we got on Highway 66. We continued driving north out of the city. Evelyn Coleman sat quiet in the back seat, looking at her hands folded in her lap. Except for directions, she said nothing. Approximately 3 miles out of the city, she directed us off onto a county highway. We drove east for a few miles, then we turned north onto an unpaved road lined with eucalyptus trees. We'd gone a little less than a mile when she directed us to pull up.
We can walk the rest of the way.
Okay.
It's not far.
All right.
This way.
Your brother been out here all this time?
He didn't tell me. He called this morning. Supposed to get himself up.
What happened?
I don't know. He's worse now, I think. Could hardly understand him on the phone. Doesn't make sense.
Is he alone now?
He was when I left him. We go across this field here.
Okay.
Yeah. Is your brother armed?
No.
That it over there?
Yeah. Shack by the trees. You'll see he's treated right.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see to it.
Evelyn? Evie?
I brought them in, Floyd. They'll take you back.
I'm Richard Floyd Coleman. I want to tell you I killed Betty Dixon.
All right, Ben.
I wanted to marry her. She didn't want it. She dared me to kill her. I grabbed a knife.
We can talk about it later, huh?
She was lying on the floor. She said, "Kiss me goodbye." I held on to her. She seemed to go to sleep.
We have to go, Floyd.
You tell him, Evie, I loved her. You tell him that.
Yeah, I will.
She dared me to kill her. She said I didn't have the nerve. She asked me to.
Yeah, all right. Come on.
Try to tell him that at the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To prove a suspect's guilt or innocence, as in tonight's case, the working detective spends many a long hour with the man in question. In the interrogation room, the crime lab, with his friends, his enemies, gets to know his man well. And so with a cigarette. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, get to know Fatima. Live with it a while. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Get to know the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Richard Floyd Coleman was examined by 6 psychiatrists appointed by the court and was found to be criminally insane. He was committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino for an indefinite period of time. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper, next on NBC.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.